Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Resurrection of Reiki. I awakened a God-level martial soul. Chapter 1, Soul Martial Calendar 388 Years. Blue Star, Wagwo. Jincheng Number 1 Middle School, Class 3. Ding, the Peerless Genius Training System is being activated. Activation failed. Please collect energy items to activate the system as soon as possible, otherwise the system will disappear. As soon as Lu Qingchen woke up, he heard a mechanically synthesized sound in his head. The next moment, Lu Qingchen wiped away the puff that was about to flow from his mouth, with a look of lovelessness on his face. It's not that he thought so, it's because he was too speechless. In the world he traveled to, in addition to modern technology, there are also powerful warriors and countless spirit beasts. In this world, through cultivation, human beings can control extraordinary power, open mountains and crack rocks, overturn rivers and seas, and even fly in the sky. But the prerequisite for doing this is that you have to become a martial artist. I thought I was accompanied by a system through time travel and finally became the child of destiny, but I didn't expect that these three non-products would not be activated anyway. What is an energy item? Without giving a reminder, where to find it by yourself, this is a cheating system. Lu Qingchen was thinking so. The next moment, the familiar get out of class bell rang. The head teacher, who was familiar yet somewhat unfamiliar on the stage, dragged on for a few minutes before reluctantly leaving. Unexpectedly, just as the head teacher left, a beautiful woman walked in. She is very young. According to the head teacher, she is about 20 years old, not much older than the students in class 7. Perhaps because of her cultivation, to some extent, her appearance is even similar to that of the students in class 7. Lu Qingchen thinks it is very good to have such a capable, young and beautiful woman as a mentor. At least it looks very seductive. There are still 10 days until the college entrance examination. Some students who want to apply for Wuhan University will pay the registration fee of 10,000 yuan tomorrow. The rest of the students will study hard in the next few days. The beautiful woman on the stage smiled. Everyone decides whether to apply according to their own situation. Even if you don't take the Wuhan University, it's very good to go to a prestigious liberal arts school. Because the last class had just ended, many students were still drowsy, but they woke up instantly when they heard the words, Wuhan University. Lu Yan on the stage, that is, the martial arts instructor of class 3 and 7, had just finished speaking, and the class erupted in an instant. Do you know that a silver-winged double-headed mantis broke into Jincheng yesterday and was beheaded by a core student of Wuhan University? I heard that the other party was already a supernatural power at a young age. Really, a student can kill a silver-winged double-headed praying mantis, is that a legendary beast? Of course it won't work if it's an ordinary Wuhan academy, but it's the Monster Academy, one of the top 3 academies in China, let alone its core disciples. I am satisfied to be admitted to an ordinary Wuhan academy. In the whole of Yangcheng, only 3 students have been admitted to the 3 famous schools in the past 2 years. It was only then that Lu Qingchen remembered that the college entrance examination in this world was different from before, and that there was an additional university in this world, Wuhan University. Just by hearing the name, you can tell that Wuhan University is a university composed of warriors and soul masters. The college entrance examination is an opportunity to determine one's destiny, and being admitted to Wuhan University represents a bright future, and also represents endless glory, money, and high status. But it is really difficult to be admitted to Wuhan University. First of all, you have to reach the 4th level of body tempering realm. This is only the most basic condition. There are 9 levels of body tempering, and the more times of body tempering, the greater the chance of awakening the martial soul. Children in ordinary families basically have 1 level and 2 levels of body tempering. Only a few students with good family conditions can reach the triple level, which is already the result of great efforts. But if you want to be admitted to Wuhan University, you need the 4th level of body tempering realm. I don't know how many students in Yangcheng number 1 middle school have been stumped by this one condition. Just as Lu Qingchen was thinking about his future, a classmate Hong Bing in the front row suddenly turned around and asked, Lu Qingchen, Yushan, are you two going to sign up? Lu Qingchen's impression of Hong Bing was quite deep, but not because he was more handsome, but because his strong body was comparable to Yushan, who was at the same table and best friend. His best friend, Yushan, has been much stronger than ordinary people since a very early age, and now Yushan, who is in the 3rd year of high school, is over 2 meters tall and weighs more than 300 kgs. Moreover, Yushan's physique is naturally much higher than that of ordinary people, and he is also the most promising student in his class to be admitted to Wuhan University. Just when Lu Qingchen was about to speak, the buddy next to him had already stepped forward and said, "Definitely sign up. If you don't sign up this time, you will regret it for the rest of your life." At this time, Hong Bing's deskmate in the front row also turned around, with a sad expression on his face. "Yushan has great hope of passing the exam, but Lao Hong, Lu Qingchen and I." He shook his head and said, "The registration fee alone costs 10,000 yuan, and you may not be able to pass the exam. This money is enough for a year's living expenses in an ordinary university. I still want to give it a try." Hong Bing in the front row was a little hesitant. He is physically strong and has the 3rd level of body tempering realm. It may not be impossible to work hard before the college entrance examination. Then come on, we're still waiting for your school entrance feast. No one stopped Hong Bing's idea of trying. We were all classmates. If he stopped at this time, his future would even be ruined. Although everyone is young, they also understand how insignificant 10,000 yuan is compared to being admitted to Wuhan University. School gate. Lu Qingchen walked slowly. His mind was full of the Wuhan University that his former classmates talked about. "I am only at the 2nd level of the body tempering realm now. Even if I can break through the 3rd level before the college entrance examination, the hope is extremely slim. Is it possible that I have to be an ordinary person for the rest of my life after transmigrating? Where can I find energy items? This system is not a son of man." Just as Lu Qingchen was muttering secretly, a burly figure behind him rushed towards him at high speed. "Brother Chen, why are you walking so fast?" Yushan, who had just rushed over, was out of breath, with a look of resentment on his face. "Go back slowly and the food will be cold." Lu Qingchen rolled his eyes. Lu Qingchen and Yushan grew up playing together, they lived in the same community, and their parents were also close friends. It can be said that he grew up wearing a pair of pants. The two walked, and inadvertently came to a huge abandoned site. This abandoned yard is where all the discarded items in their area accumulate. Ding! It is detected that there are energy-containing items around the host. Please get the activation system as soon as possible, otherwise the system will disappear. Lu Qingchen, who had just passed this abandoned site, suddenly heard the system's mechanical synthesis sound in his ears, and couldn't help being startled. After the shock, there was a surprise. Lu Qingchen's eyes were sharp, and he hurriedly pulled Yushan to the scrap yard. This waste factory is not guarded by anyone. After all, it is all waste and has no value. In the past, it was okay. Occasionally, scavengers went in to pick up some waste of meager value, such as plastic bottles, iron blocks, and a series of unknown metals. But in the past 2 years, I don't know what happened. The garbage here has gradually increased, and even the scavengers rarely patronize it. According to the guidance of the system, Lu Qingchen covered his nose with Yushan and walked towards a certain place step by step. The two walked around for a long time, until about 20 minutes later, a small dark yellow clock covered with dust came into view. With excitement, Lu Qingchen quickly picked up the dusty little clock. 2 seconds later, a sound of nature sounded in Lu Qingchen's mind. Ding! Divine power detected, the system is being activated. Ding! Divine power detected, the system is being activated. Boom! These words exploded in Lu Qingchen's mind like thunder. For a moment, Lu Qingchen felt his mind go blank, and his body trembled uncontrollably, as if he heard the most beautiful voice in the world. Goldfinger finally arrived. Suppressing the excitement in his heart, Lu Qingchen picked up the little clock and hugged it like a baby. Yushan on the side looked at Lu Qingchen with a puzzled expression, and asked suspiciously, "Brother Chen, why are you holding a broken clock? Could it be a baby?" Lu Qingchen gently stroked the dusty little clock in his arms, and smiled at Yushan. "That's right, I heard that there are many treasures in this abandoned site." Yushan had always believed in Lu Qingchen's words, so he began to observe around immediately. Lu Qingchen looked around and found that there was a bronze scroll next to the little clock just now. Since Xiao Zhang is not a mortal thing, then this thing put together with him should also be a treasure. Lu Qingchen thought so in his heart, so he held the bronze scroll in his arms and decided to go back and study it. Just as he was about to go home, he found that Yushan had disappeared, so he looked around. I saw Yushan coming out of a certain waste pile, holding a lot of items in his arms. The smile on his face almost overflowed, and he said to Lu Qingchen, "Brother Chen, as expected of you, this time we came home with a lot of rewards." Lu Qingchen kicked him, and said angrily, "Who told you to take so much? What if you can't fit it at home?" Yushan scratched his head with an innocent face. Back in the community, after the two separated, Lu Qingchen returned home with excitement. Although it is time travel, fortunately, his parents, friends and classmates have not changed. Otherwise, if his parents have changed, Lu Qingchen would not be able to cry out. The community where Lu Qingchen's family is located is called Jincheng Community, and it should have been considered a very famous community decades ago. The people in the community are either government officials or rich people. Lu Qingchen vaguely remembered that he had heard someone tell him that his father was also a martial arts expert back then, but unfortunately he didn't know what happened later. From then on, he settled in Jincheng and never touched martial arts again. But later Jincheng developed rapidly, and some people gradually moved to other places. Today's Jincheng community can only be regarded as one of the few old communities with houses over several decades old. Room 502, Building 2. Lu Qingchen stood outside the door, looking at the door with most of the vermilion paint missing, feeling a little complicated. Adjusting his mood slightly, he shouted outside the door, "Mom and Dad, I'm back." A few seconds later, the door opened, and a tall, middle-aged man with bright eyes and slightly gray temples came into view. "The stinky boy is back, go to rest for a while and get ready for dinner." "Okay, Dad." Lu Qingchen threw his backpack on the sofa, walked straight to the kitchen, his nose twitched, and said in surprise, "Did Mom burn sweet and sour pork ribs? It smells so good." Lu Qingchen picked up a piece of ribs with his hand, blew on it, put it in his mouth, and almost screamed, "Oh my God, it's so delicious." In the kitchen, Lu Qingchen's mother turned around when she heard the words, looked at her son and said softly, "Eat more if it tastes good. It's time to grow your body. There is also chicken soup stewed in the casserole for you." Lu Qingchen's heart warmed. Even after time travel, parents are still parents, always wanting to keep the best things for themselves. At the dinner table, Lu Qingchen ate his rice with big mouthfuls, while his mother Xiaolan kept picking up vegetables for him. "Xiaochen, eat more pork ribs to grow your body. Come and eat some fish to supplement nutrition." Lu Qingchen ate with his head buried in his mouth was full of food, and he said vaguely, "Dad, Mom, I want to go to Wuhan University." "What are you talking about? You want to take the Martial Soul University?" Lu Qingchen's father, Lu Chengting's voice trembled. "Yes, Dad, I've decided, I want to take the Wuhan University," Lu Qingchen said firmly. Lu Chengting did not expect that his son, who had never been keen on martial arts before, would actually say that he wanted to take the Martial Soul University. Because Lu Qingchen has been stuck in the second level of the body tempering realm and cannot go up, and there is a sister in the family who has already been admitted to the Wuhan University, so he is not keen on martial arts. The most important thing is that his father's health is not very good, so Lu Qingchen doesn't want to waste the family's money to fight for that extremely slim hope. Okay. As expected of Lu Chengting's son, a man should practice martial arts," Lu Chengting shouted excitedly, patting his thigh. Lu Qingchen's mother, Xiaolan, was also beside her and said softly, "Xiaochen, Mom doesn't want you to practice martial arts. Martial arts are too dangerous, and if you are not careful, you will be smashed to pieces." Xiaolan's eyes were red. "However, you are a majestic 7-foot man. Now you have grown up and have your own ideas, but you must be careful in martial arts, and you can't be like your father." Okay, I believe Xiaochen, even if our child can't climb to the top, he will definitely become the overlord of one side, absolutely no worse than me." Lu Chengting's face was full of pride and confidence, radiant. The family finished the dinner happily. Just after dinner, Lu Qingchen couldn't wait to go into the room. As soon as the door closed, he said silently in his heart, System Dad. Congratulations, the Peerless Genius training system has been successfully activated." A mechanically synthesized voice suddenly sounded in Lu Qingchen's mind. But for some reason, Lu Qingchen always felt a little unreal in his heart. Ding! Since collecting energy is a divine power, the novice gift pack has been distributed, please pay attention to check it. Receive, Lu Qingchen said without the slightest hesitation. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining a Great Heaven Creation Pill. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining 5 small fortune pills. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining a drop of true dragon blood. Immediately afterwards, a picture appeared in Lu Qingchen's mind. Peerless Genius Training System. Host, Lu Qingchen. Martial Soul. Not enabled, preliminary detection is dual martial soul. Realm, Body Tempering Realm Level 2. Mental Power, 9. Skills, none. Items, Dongguang Bell, Bronze Scroll, Great Heaven Good Fortune Pill 1, Small Good Fortune Pill 5, a drop of True Dragon Blood Essence. Double Martial Souls, I actually have dual martial souls, ha 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 ha. Lu Qingchen's eyes widened, and his heart was extremely excited. System, what's the matter with the Bronze Scroll of the Eastern Emperor Bell and the elixir, can I use it? The host can check the item information and usage method by himself. The mechanically synthesized voice sounded again in his mind. Oh, I understand. Lu Qingchen rubbed his hands. System, what are your functions? Can you make me invincible directly? Lu Qingchen's eyes lit up, and he began to dream. This system is a peerless genius training system. It is intended to help the host forge the strongest foundation and cultivate into a peerless genius. As for direct invincibility, please don't dream about the host. The system paused and continued. Every time the host reaches perfection in a realm, the system will automatically issue rewards. The more perfect the host's realm, the higher the achievement, and the better the reward. Lu Qingchen finally understood. To put it simply, the system requires him to be invincible in the same realm, at least to be perfect in one realm before he can get the reward for the next realm. Shaking his head, Lu Qingchen knew very well that if he wanted to be invincible in the same situation before, it was just a dream, and it was hard to say whether he could awaken his martial soul, but now, Jia Jia Jia. With a thought, Lu Qingchen began to check the item information. Eastern Emperor Bell. Eastern Emperor Bell, also known as the Chaos Clock, it is rumored to be the companion of the great god Dongguang Tai, born in the chaos. It was born in the chaos and is the head of the power of the ancient artifact. It can control the sun and the moon, reverse the stars, and travel through the long river of time. The power contained in itself is enough to destroy the world and devour the heavens. How to use. Recognize the host with a drop of blood, which will subtly transform the host's qualifications. Bronze Scroll, a mysterious scroll, there will be unexpected surprises after opening. How to use. Recognize the master with blood. Great Heaven Good Fortune Pill, it captures the good fortune of heaven and earth, gathers the essence of the sun and the moon, contains infinite power of good fortune, can be taken in any realm, and is one of the peerless treasures that cast the strongest foundation. Small Creation Pill, Life and Death, Flesh and Bones, can reshape the physical body, improve aptitude, take it below the holy realm to unconditionally improve a small realm. Note, one person can only take one, and it will be invalid if taken above the Holy Land. True Dragon Blood Essence, a drop of blood essence from a real dragon can temper the body and improve physical fitness. How to use. Just swallow. After reading these messages, Lu Qingchen sat blankly for a while, and slowly let out a mouthful of turbid air, unable to calm down for a long time. But at the same time, he always felt a little weird in his heart, and he didn't know whether it was because he was surprised that the artifact was so easy to identify its owner or because of other reasons. Forget it, let's recognize the Master Dongguang Bell first according to the system. After all, it is a divine weapon that can improve aptitude. Lu Qingchen muttered to himself. Then Lu Qingchen bit his middle finger, and a drop of blood melted into the Dongguang Bell. In the blink of an eye, the Dongguang Bell burst into light, and it turned into a stream of light and entered his body with a whoosh. A slight strange feeling came from the palm of his right hand. Lu Qingchen raised his right hand and suddenly found that in the middle of the palm was printed the pattern of a small golden clock. The color and shape of this imprint are exactly the same as the Eastern Emperor Bell. Eastern Emperor Bell. Lu Qingchen looked at the palm of his hand in a daze, and muttered in his heart. As Lu Qingchen's voice fell, the imprint of the small golden bell instantly lit up. Lu Qingchen was in a trance for a while, and when he opened his eyes again, there was already a sea of fire around him. In the middle of the sea of flames was a pillar reaching to the sky, engraved with some unknown ancient characters. Although Lu Qingchen couldn't understand it, he could understand the meaning. Only the Supreme Master of the Way of Fire is qualified to control the Eastern Emperor Bell. Lu Qingchen slowly put his hand on the pillar. As soon as his palm touched the pillar, a mysterious force penetrated into his body, as if it wanted to change his fate in the dark. This force was very strange. Before he could hold on for 3 seconds, Lu Qingchen passed out. I don't know how long it took before Lu Qingchen woke up leisurely. I opened the window and looked out. It was pitch black, and then I checked the time. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. Lu Qingchen only felt sore all over his body, as if on fire, resisting the pain by force, and meditated in his heart. System, open the information panel. Next moment. Host, Lu Qingchen. Martial soul, not activated. Realm, quadruple body tempering realm. Mental power, 11. Skills, none. Items, Dongguang Bell, Bronze Scroll, Great Heaven Good Fortune Pill 1, Small Good Fortune Pill 5, a drop of True Dragon Blood Essence. The 4th level of body tempering realm, it's worthy of the Eastern Emperor Bell. Although it hurts a bit, it's worth it. Looking at the information panel, Lu Qingchen's eyes lit up, and he murmured. It's still a bit short. Now my goal should be the 3 famous schools, but what I should do now is. With a thought, a jade-like pill the size of a longan appeared in his hand. Lu Qingchen looked at it carefully, but he didn't see any tricks. He closed his eyes, threw the elixir into his mouth, and swallowed it. The elixir was swallowed into his stomach in the blink of an eye, and Lu Qingchen could only feel a mysterious force swimming in his body, as if washing away the impurities in his body. This power grew stronger and stronger as time passed, and finally, after a minute, this power reached its peak. Feeling the severe pain coming from his body, Lu Qingchen clenched his teeth and persisted, but the pain was too severe, far beyond the limit that human beings can bear. A sense of dizziness came, Lu Qingchen's eyes went dark, and he fell straight on the bed. That's right, passed out again. 6 o'clock in the morning. Lu Qingchen woke up slowly, and found that there were many black impurities on his body and a strange smell, so he hurriedly ran to the bathroom, covering his nose. A quarter of an hour later, a slender young man came out. He was already handsome after taking the Great Heaven Creation Pill. He was even more handsome than before, with thick black hair, crystal clear body, and a pair of eyes as deep as stars, making it elusive. Is this the feeling of being full of power? It's really good, the young man whispered. Next, let's see what this set of bronze scrolls is. Lu Qingchen bit his finger, and a drop of blood fell on the bronze scroll. After a few seconds of calm, the scroll turned into a red light, which swished into Lu Qingchen's mind. The next moment, a vicissitudes of life and simplicity sounded in my mind. The sacred scripture of burning the sky, the way of fire is at the top. Those who cultivate to great success can burn mountains and seas, and burn everything in the world. It turned out to be a technique. Lu Qingchen's eyes widened. You must know that the most important thing in cultivation is the exercises. Only a good volume of exercises can truly display the power of the martial soul. For many forces, exercises are the most important. Why do you want to take the Wuhan University exam? Apart from various training resources, the most important thing is the exercises. Lu Qingchen let out a breath slowly. It is absolutely impossible to let anyone know that there is still a system. Once these resources are exposed, they will definitely die without a place to die. Lu Qingchen still understands the reason why everyone is innocent and pregnant is guilty. With a thought, the information panel opened. Host, Lu Qingchen. Martial soul, not activated. Realm, body tempering realm eightfold. Mental power, 19. Cultivation technique, burning heaven holy code. Items, Dongguang Bell, small good fortune pill 5, a drop of true dragon blood essence. The 8th level of body tempering realm is indeed a system. Lu Qingchen thought so, grinning silly. Xiaochen, wake up, Xiao Yu is outside the door, ready to ask you to go to school together. Hearing his mother Xia Lan's voice, Lu Qingchen got up from the bed and opened the door. After washing up as quickly as possible, he was ready to change his shoes and set off. I was just about to go with Yushan, when my dad stopped me. Xiaochen, this is 40,000 yuan, you can use it to enroll in Wuhan University, and the remaining money can be used to buy a body tempering pill. Lu Qingchen felt warm in his heart, and said, Dad, no need, Lu Chengding interrupted him and said, here, as long as you want that kind of heart, you don't have to worry about money. I still have a lot of money at home. I'll ask my relationship to help you buy some body tempering herbs this afternoon. Lu Qingchen took the money and left without saying anything. At this time, Yu Shan outside the door was shocked and said, Brother Chen, are you going to take the Wuhan University? I didn't. You heard it wrong. Yes, you heard me right. I'm not only going to be admitted to Wuhan University, but also to be admitted to 3 famous schools. Lu Qingchen looked serious. Brother Chen, as expected of you, you are too powerful. Yu Shan nodded. Since he was a child, he has always believed in Lu Qingchen's words, as if what Lu Qingchen said is right. If there are no accidents in the college entrance examination, both of us can go to the 3 famous schools. Would you like to help that girl Mu Ting? No problem, I've reached the 6th level of body tempering realm. Yu Shan patted his chest. Lu Qingchen has a black hair, and he is at the 6th level of the body tempering realm. This is simply a beast, but fortunately he has a system. But for some reason, when he thought of the system, a strange look suddenly appeared on Lu Qingchen's face. The 2 of them saw Su Muting as soon as they walked into Class 7 of Senior 3. Lu Qingchen and Yu Shan looked at each other and walked over there. Su Muting played with Yu Shan and Lu Qingchen since they were young. They live in the same community. The parents of the 3 have a good relationship, and they usually go home together. I just don't know why I didn't see Su Muting yesterday. When Lu Qingchen was about to get close to Su Muting, there was a figure standing in front of him. Yan Ziyan, Su Muting's friend, was also the monitor of Class 3 and 7. What's the matter? Yan Ziyan asked coldly. I'm looking for Mu Ting. Lu Qingchen gave Yan Ziyan a strange look. Let's talk here if you have anything to say. Yan Ziyan continued. Lu Qingchen raised his head and walked around him, ignoring him, looked at Su Muting behind Yan Ziyan and said, I have something to tell you. Just say it here, and it's the same here. Su Muting's eyes dodged a little, as if she didn't dare to look into Lu Qingchen's eyes. Mu Ting, what do you mean? Lu Qingchen frowned. Don't understand, it means that Mu Ting doesn't want to get too close to you, keep a distance. Yan Ziyan sneered. Lu Qingchen's eyes suddenly became sharp, and he looked at Su Muting seriously, but Su Muting didn't look at him. I see, Lu Qingchen said softly with calm eyes. Brother Chen said to help you cultivate with me. Yu Shan next to him said in a low voice. You said that you helped Mu Ting practice, I can barely believe it, but Lu Qingchen, don't look at yourself in the mirror. Yan Ziyan sneered disdainfully. Everyone in the class looked over at this moment. Yu Shan ignored Yan Ziyan, looked at Su Muting, and said in a deep voice. I want to know your decision. Su Muting was silent for a long while, clenched her fists, gritted her teeth and said. Lu Qingchen, Yu Shan, although we have played together since childhood, we are adults after all, we should keep our distance, not to mention. I understand. Before she finished speaking, Lu Qingchen interrupted her words directly. You are right, we have all grown up and have our own ideas, and I respect your decision. After finishing speaking, Lu Qingchen turned around directly, and left the class with Yu Shan without looking back. Lu Qingchen, seeing the backs of the 2 leaving, Su Muting opened her mouth, as if she wanted to say something. But in the end she didn't say that sentence after all, because Yan Ziyan beside her had already held her hand. Mu Ting, don't worry about them, you and I are destined to be admitted to the Wuhan University, and we won't have any interaction with that trash in the future. Su Muting bit her lip, hummed lightly, and finally gave up the idea of explaining in her heart. What Yan Ziyan said was right. After she was admitted to Wuhan University, she and Lu Qingchen should not have any interaction. School roof. This is the highest position in the college, and Lu Qingchen and Yu Shan like to chat here when they have nothing to do. Feeling the gentle breeze, and looking down from a height, there will be a different feeling. Yu Shan, I think everyone has grown up, it's not wrong to have their own ideas, but I didn't expect the friendship for so many years. Lu Qingchen sat on the edge of the roof and looked down at the bustling crowd below, his delicate face was slightly complicated. I understand, it's just that she clearly knows that Yan Zion has a bad relationship with you, but she still acquiesces in Yan Zion standing in front of you, which has already shown her attitude. After so many years of friendship, she still says to keep a distance. What is this? Yu Shan said with a gloomy face. His mood at the moment could be seen in his angry tone. Actually, it's not bad. After all, she is the squad leader, her family background is good, and her strength has reached the 5th level of the body tempering realm. The Wuhan University is stable, and in her eyes, I am just a small 2nd level body tempering realm. Heavy. Lu Qingchen smiled helplessly. If it were someone else, everyone would know who to choose. Yu Shan looked at him silently. As a friend who had played with him since childhood, he knew exactly what kind of person Lu Qingchen was, so it would be pointless to try to persuade him. By the way, which school do you want to go to? After a moment of silence, Lu Qingchen asked suddenly. Judging from the look on his face, he didn't seem to be affected by this incident. Let's go to the 3 famous schools, wait until the talent is detected and then decide. How about you? Me too. Maybe I will go to Monster Academy. After all, it is the #1 academy in the mainland. It is very desirable. Yeah, Miyama nodded. Are you not worried that I won't pass the exam? Lu Qingchen asked in surprise. You can do what you said. Yu Shan nodded affirmatively. Lu Qingchen stroked his forehead. This guy believed in himself too much. Ding-a-ling, came the urgent bell. The two walked towards the classroom. The turmoil just now has passed, and the class has completely quieted down at this moment. Just as Lu Qingchen and Yu Shan returned to their seats, Hong Bing in the front row turned his head and said, I've discussed it with my family and decided to apply for Wuhan University. How about you? Before Lu Qingchen could speak to Yu Shan, Hong Bing immediately said, I just broke through to the 4th level of the body tempering realm. My dad said that my family is counting on me. No matter how much money I have to sign up, I'm counting on me to be admitted to the Wuhan University. Lu Qingchen smiled and said, Are you Versailles or Versailles? At this time, Yu Shan also joined in, and said with a simple smile, I'm only at the 6th level of the body tempering realm. I don't know if I can pass the exam. The pressure is so great. After speaking, this guy pretended to let out a long sigh. The smile on Hong Bing's face froze immediately. He glanced at Yu Shan, and turned his head back silently. Animals, this is animals, you can't compare with animals. Hong Bing thought to himself. Thinking about it like this made my heart clearer, so I turned my head around again, and said mysteriously. Have you heard that the admissions system of Wuhan University has changed this year? As soon as this sentence is said, it seems to throw a stone on a calm lake, stirring up thousands of waves. A female student sitting next to the aisle came over and quickly asked, Quickly tell me, what has changed to the admissions system? This female student is not very good looking, it can only be said to be average, but she is full of vigor, with piercing eyes and a heroic appearance. At this time, the female classmate's deskmate was also a girl, who was also full of interest in Hong Bing's words, and asked softly, Yes, tell me. The heroic girl is named Zhang Ying, and the girl sitting next to her with delicate features and a slender voice is named Shu Man. Both of the two female students have reached the 4th level of body tempering or above. Of course, in addition to having better talent than ordinary people, the family background is also beyond most people. Seeing that the female students in the class were also interested, Hong Bing suddenly became excited. He blinked and said mysteriously, I also heard the gossip. I heard that this year, Wuhan University will no longer recruit repeat students who have repeated for more than 2 years in a row. The other is that those with attribute induction talents and above grades will be directly admitted. Hong Bing paused, and continued, Of course the realm must reach the 4th level of body tempering realm, otherwise the rest is just empty talk. Lu Qingchen's heart moved slightly. Attribute sensing talent, is this an extra exam than in previous years? What is the attribute induction talent? Everyone asked. Hong Bing seemed to enjoy the feeling of being surrounded by everyone, and he said with joy on his face, I'm not very clear, but I heard that it has something to do with Wuhan. So that's how it is. At this time, the students in the class have already discussed each other, and they are guessing at each other. Maybe he is a fire attribute, so how is talent judged? Just as Lu Qingchen was daydreaming, a beautiful figure walked into the classroom. The person who came was Lu Yan, a martial arts instructor in the third year of high school. The class fell silent instantly. Everyone wanted to make a good impression on the beautiful teacher. Because they don't know where they heard that the tutors of Wuhan University have great power, and they can even recruit some students in advance, so it is very important to leave a good impression on the tutors. After all, no one knows for sure, if one day he is lucky enough to be spotted by this beautiful mentor, it will be really glorious. Glancing at the class that quickly quieted down, Lu Yan blinked and said softly, "Students who decide to enroll in Wuhan University, come to the homeroom teacher's office to pay and register later, fill out the form, and the school will help everyone register after review." As a martial arts lecturer, he is not a teacher in the school, but a teacher sent by some Wuhan University above to help some students in the third year of high school answer some questions about martial arts. Of course, in this way, we can also see in advance which good seedlings there are. After all, everyone has selfish intentions, and Wuhan University is no exception. If you are close to the water, you get the moon first. After saying these words, the students became excited. Lu Yan did not leave the classroom, but with a golden light in her eyes, she glanced carefully at the students in the class. The front was fine. Lu Yan didn't find anything special, but when she was in the row of Yushan, she couldn't help being a little stunned. The next moment, Lu Yan became pleasantly surprised that this burly student had reached the 6th level of body tempering realm. Her gaze gradually moved away from Yushan, and Lu Yan continued to look at Lu Qingchen, who was beside Yushan. Body tempering level 2. No, what's going on? Why do you feel a little unclear? Sensing the erratic aura on Lu Qingchen's body, Lu Yan pondered for a moment, then walked out of the classroom. After seeing Lu Yan walk out of the classroom, the students in the class who were about to sign up got up one after another, ready to go to the office to sign up. Hong Bing in the front row of Lu Qingchen stood up first, followed by the two sisters next to him, Zhang Ying and Shu Man. Of course, there was also the pervert next to him. Yushan also stood up. At the same time, two boys in the class stood up. Just when several people were about to go to the office, Lu Qingchen also stood up slowly. Hong Bing grinned and said, "Old Lu, we are going to register, not to go to the bathroom." "Yes, go sign up." Lu Qingchen nodded. Hong Bing was stunned. Even the two sisters next to him were also stunned. After a while, Zhang Ying couldn't help being surprised and said, "Lu Qingchen, do you also sign up? I heard correctly, right?" This heroic female student was shocked, and her voice was not too low. The students in the class turned their heads when they heard it. "We have been classmates for 3 years, and we all know the situation in the class quite well." Although Lu Qingchen was tall and slender, he was still a little thinner than the other students. At this moment, everyone looked at Lu Qingchen, only to find that Lu Qingchen was tall and not thin. It's just that he has been standing with Yushan before and looks thin. At this moment, the liger-like muscles under Lu Qingchen's loose t-shirt are so visually impactful, his face is as sharp as a knife, his eyes are deep, and his whole body exudes a masculine temperament. Most of the girls in the class were staring at him right now, even Su Muting was no exception. After a long while, the girls turned their heads in unison. Lu Qingchen grinned, showing his white teeth, and said to Hong Bing and the two sisters, "Let's go, let's sign up together." A group of people went to the office. Of course, Yan Ziyan and Su Muting were not in the group. Everyone talked and laughed along the way. "Okay, old Lu, have you been training your body secretly without telling us?" Hong Bing said. "Lu Qingchen, to be honest, did you practice secretly after returning home?" Zhang Ying asked with his tusk. Lu Qingchen didn't mind too much. He showed his big white teeth, and said with a smile, "My buddy is very talented, why do you need to temper your body secretly? Besides, if you don't sign up this time, you will definitely regret it for life. As long as you are admitted to Wuhan University, a mere 10,000 yuan is nothing." Quote. After hearing Lu Qingchen's words, several people were a little moved. That's right, if you pass the exam, what is 10,000 yuan? Getting into Wuhan University represents a bright future, a lofty status, an intoxicating power. I just don't know if I can awaken my martial soul, if I can't awaken my martial soul. At this time, one of the other two boys, who was a bit feminine and had some freckles on his face, said, Lu Qingchen recalled that this boy was called Shuzan, and he didn't have much sense of presence at ordinary times, but he didn't expect him to sign up. Next to him was a slightly rough-looking boy with a crew cut named Zhang Wei, who was good friends with Shuzan. After Shuzan finished speaking, the group fell silent. Everyone knew in their hearts that the fourth level of body tempering realm was just a basic requirement. The more times of body tempering, the greater the chance of awakening the martial soul. Outside of Wuhan. As for those below the fourth level of body tempering realm, the chance of awakening the martial soul is less than 1 in a billion. Over the years, only 2 or 3 people have awakened their martial souls at the third level of the body tempering realm, and they are all bloodline martial souls, inherited from their families. Don't be discouraged, everyone. It hasn't started yet. Don't you have some talent for attribute induction? You can directly enroll if you are above the land grade. Seeing that everyone was silent, Lu Qingchen added something to cheer everyone up. That's right, and students who can cultivate to the fourth level of body tempering realm and above have a high chance of awakening their martial soul. Yu Shan said. Only then did everyone nod their heads. Also, being able to cultivate to the fourth level of the body tempering realm can be regarded as relatively talented, and the chance of awakening is still very high. A group of people came to the door of the office. In the office, the head teacher, Da Huang, was talking and laughing with Lu Yan, but it could be seen from the fact that Da Huang was not very calm from the water cup in his hand. After all, it's about his bonus rating and even his future. Seeing everyone coming to the office, the head teacher quickly got up and asked everyone to sit down. Immediately afterwards, Yan Ziyan and Su Muting also came. Yu Shan glanced at Lu Qingchen subconsciously, and found that his face was calm and he was playing with a black pen in his hand. Seeing that everyone was here, the homeroom teacher Rhubarb mulled over, and said, "Let's first listen to teacher Lu Yan tell you about the rules and procedures for applying for the Wuhan University." Lu Yan glanced at everyone, smiled softly and said, "Next, I'll briefly tell you that when enrolling in Wuhan University, the fourth level of body tempering realm is one of them, and the other is the awakening of Wuhan. An awakened martial spirit will have soul slots, 1 is the least and 7 is the highest. Generally speaking, the number of soul slots determines the level of your martial soul, which is what we often call talent." Everyone also understood that there is such a classification. The soul slot can be inlaid with soul beads. For example, if a person's martial spirit has only 1 soul slot, then only 1 soul orb can be inlaid. If there are 5 soul slots, 5 soul beads can be inlaid. Speaking of this, Hong Bing couldn't help but interrupted and asked, "Teacher, what is that soul orb?" Lu Yan continued, "I was just about to tell you that soul beads are actually a kind of beads that are condensed from the strength of the whole body after the death of those spirit beasts. They contain certain abilities of these spirit beasts. You can understand that each soul orb they all contain a soul skill. Isn't the soul orb very precious?" Zhang Wei's thinking was very sharp, and he immediately judged the importance of the soul orb. "Yes, there are soul orbs among the rewards for the top 3 in the country in the college entrance examination." Lu Yan said solemnly, "There is one more thing I need to tell you. No matter how much you are in the body tempering realm, as long as you haven't awakened your martial soul, you basically won't be able to enter the martial soul university. You must know that after quenching the body, you need to cultivate spiritual power, and the carrier of spiritual power is the martial soul. Without the martial soul, it is impossible to cultivate spiritual power." Quote. Lu Yan's words seemed to open a door for everyone. It turns out that there are such things as soul orbs, which can be used to cultivate spiritual power after quenching the body. It's just that if the martial soul is not awakened, except for Lu Qingchen, everyone else present is very heavy. Lu Yan glanced at Lu Qingchen, surprised why Lu Qingchen was so indifferent, but still comforted everyone. The chance of awakening the quadruple martial soul of the body tempering realm is still very high, so don't worry too much. Only then did everyone calm down. Next, pay money, register, and fill out the registration form. The process is still very simple. There are still a few days before the college entrance examination. Go back and exercise your body well. The school will then send out the specific timetable for the Wuhan University college entrance examination, as well as various precautions. Then everyone turned around and walked out of the office. In the office, Rhubarb was in a very happy mood, and said to teacher Lu Yan with a smile, There are quite a few students who have reached the 4th level of body tempering realm this year, much better than previous years, ahahaha. At this time, Lu Yan also said with some doubts. I'm also very surprised. This year, there are several times more students in each class who have reached the 4th level of the body tempering realm than in previous years. I don't know what happened. The homeroom teacher showed a mouthful of big yellow teeth. Isn't this a good thing? What's so strange? The country is getting stronger and stronger, and the children's realm will be higher if they eat well. Lu Yan frowned tightly, did not answer the head teacher's words, was silent for a while, and walked out of the office door. Is it Director Li? Yes, I'm Lu Yan. I have some news to report. It's like this. This year's situation is a bit strange. Everyone returned to the classroom and began to review and do the questions. Although the cultural performance of students who take the Wuhan University test does not have a big impact, they still have to be prepared. In case the Wuhan is not awakened, they will be able to find a better job after taking the entrance examination to a prestigious school. At least there is a way out. Lu Qingchen didn't go to review and do the questions. For a person who is cheating, if he still needs to do the questions to make another preparation, wouldn't he be sorry for the father of the system? Yu Shan next to him lay directly on the table, 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Sure enough, he fell asleep. Lu Qingchen looked at him speechlessly, and silently recited a sentence in his heart. May I ask the host what's the matter? I'm now at the 8th level of body tempering realm, and I want to know whether it's better to use the small good fortune pill or the true dragon blood essence first. Lu Qingchen asked in his heart. It is recommended that the host swallow the essence and blood to change his physique first, and then take the elixir, so that the effect can be maximized. The voice of the system's mechanical synthesis sounded. Okay, I see. Lu Qingchen rubbed his head and fell into deep thought. I am now at the 8th level of the body tempering realm, and I still have 2 spirits. I only know that one of the spirits is the fire element, so I will definitely be admitted to the Wuhan University. It's just that I don't know what the admission criteria of the 3 major schools are, and I don't know how many soul slots my martial soul has, so forget it, don't think too much. Soon the sky was getting dark. Da Huang reminded everyone to study hard on the stage, and then school was over. On the way home, Yu Shan said to Lu Qingchen mysteriously. Brother Chen, guess what treasure I picked up at the scrap yard yesterday? No guess, Lu Qingchen said perfunctorily. Yu Shan looked at Lu Qingchen resentfully, and took out a square object from his bag. Lu Qingchen was taken aback, and said, Did you pick up a brick and come back? Yu Shan laughed and said, You don't understand this. This is not an ordinary brick. I slapped it on my dad yesterday. Guess what? My dad passed out. Lu Qingchen gave Yu Shan a thumbs up. You are such a filial son. It just so happened that I also picked up some good things. This is for you. Lu Qingchen said, and took out a pill. It is the little creation pill. Yu Shan was shocked, looked at it for a while, and asked doubtfully, Can this be eaten? Lu Qingchen rolled his eyes and scolded with a smile. Otherwise, how could I break through at the 2nd level of body tempering realm? No wonder I said Brother Chen, why did you change overnight? Hurry up and remember to take it when you get home. Yu Shan was silent. What are you doing? It's just an elixir. What is the relationship between us? I still expect you to fight the world with me in the future. Lu Qingchen scolded with a smile. Yu Shan didn't speak anymore, took the pill, and took a deep look at Lu Qingchen. When I got home, the table was still full of food. As the college entrance examination approached, my mother Xia Lan prepared a very rich dinner every night. Lu Qingchen looked around but didn't find his father, so he asked. Mom, where is Dad? Xia Lan was walking over with a plate of braised pork, and said softly, Your father went to buy you the medicinal materials for body quenching today, and he will be back soon after counting the time. As soon as he finished speaking, the door opened, and Lu Chengding said happily. I'm lucky today. There is a 50-year-old blood Ganoderma. Maybe this brat can raise a little level. Hearing this, Lu Qingchen sat on the chair and smiled, showing his big white teeth, and said to his old father Lu Chengding. Dad, I have broken through the 4th level of the body tempering realm. Dad, I have broken through to the 4th level of the body tempering realm. Lu Qingchen did not directly say that he had broken through to the 8th level of the body tempering realm, because it was incredible to jump from the second level of the body tempering realm to the 8th level, but his parents would accept it when he broke through to the 4th level of the body tempering realm. If you ask the reason, you would say that you found a porcelain bottle in the scrap yard, and there were a few pills in it. By the way, I was just looking for a reason to give my father one of the little good fortune pills, maybe it can restore my father's injured body. What, Xiaochen, you broke through to the 4th level of body tempering realm? Lu Chengting was a little surprised in his eyes. Xiaolan on the side also widened her eyes. After a while, the surprise turned into a smile, and he patted Lu Qingchen on the shoulder. Good boy, you are indeed my son. Dad, aren't you curious why your son broke through to the 4th level of the body tempering realm? Lu Chengting shook his head. My son is very talented, and he is only at the 4th level of body tempering realm, so it's no problem. Ah, Dad, you trust me too much. If it weren't for cheating on your son, I would still be staying at the 2nd level of the body tempering realm. Lu Qingchen muttered something in his heart, and immediately explained. I picked up a bottle of elixir at the scrap yard next to the community. After taking one, I broke through, and I felt that my body could not run out of strength. With that said, he took out a small porcelain bottle in his hand and handed it to Lu Chengting. Lu Chengting took the porcelain bottle, poured out the elixir, looked at it carefully, and even sniffed it. The next moment, the old father said with a look of shock, "This pill, you said you picked it up." Well, at that time, I saw that small porcelain bottle was pretty, so I picked it up, but I didn't expect there were a few pills in it. Lu Qingchen nodded, and casually made up a reason. But what he didn't expect was that after hearing these words, his old father's hand holding the small porcelain bottle trembled. After being silent for a while, Lu Chengting looked at his son with a strange expression on his face. Xiaochen, do you know what kind of elixir this is? Lu Qingchen was about to answer, but before he could speak, the old father's voice came again. At this moment, Lu Chengting's expression was very excited, as if he saw something extraordinary. Little good fortune pill, this is little good fortune pill. Lu Chengting poured out the elixir and explained to Lu Qingchen excitedly. Isn't it just a small fortune pill, do you need to be so excited? Seeing how excited his old father was, Lu Qingchen couldn't help muttering. This is a small fortune pill, I don't know how many kings and even emperors want to get one. Not only can it remove all injuries on the body, but it can also repair the martial soul, and the power of good fortune that comes with it can make the current state go further. Quote, it is also one of the peerless treasures for casting the peerless foundation in the body tempering realm. Lu Chengting explained excitedly. What kind of shit luck did you have, kid, to pick up 5 pieces in a scrap yard? 5 pieces, this is a good thing that money can't buy. Lu Qingchen didn't care about this. After thinking for a while, Lu Qingchen said. I ate 1 for myself, gave Yushan 1, and 3 for each of you, mom and dad, and leave the remaining 1 for my sister. Xiaochen, do you know how precious this pill is? Are you sure you want to give it to us? When Lu Chengting heard this, his face immediately became extremely solemn. This elixir is indeed very important to him, but it belongs to his son after all, so he must clarify the value of this elixir in advance. You are my parents, whoever I don't give it to you. Lu Qingchen couldn't help but have black lines on his face when he heard the words. Okay, Dad, don't talk too much, give Mom 1, and take it as soon as possible. Lu Chengting looked at Xiaolan. Xiaolan also looked at him, nodded, and said softly. Xiaochen's heart, you can take it. The man was silent for a while, didn't say anything, just patted Lu Qingchen on the shoulder, and went back to the room. At this time, Lu Qingchen smiled at Xiaolan and said. Mom, you should also go to the room with Dad to take it, and I will go back to the room too. Xiaolan blinked at her son and said. Xiaochen, you have really helped your father a lot. After speaking, she returned to the room just like Lu Chengting. After both parents returned to their room, Lu Qingchen couldn't wait to return to his room. Sitting on the bed, Lu Qingchen muttered in his heart, and then a drop of crystal clear blood appeared on his hand. This drop of blood was very strange, as if there was a miniature dragon swimming inside it. Immediately afterwards, he took out the blood Ganoderma lucidum bought by Lu Chengting and ate it mouthful. Finally, he mixed this drop of true dragon blood into a cup full of water, and drank it all in one gulp. The blood of the real dragon entered his abdomen, and Lu Qingchen suddenly felt his chest and abdomen heat up, and then, a thick heat flow began to flow from the chest and abdomen to the limbs and bones. As expected of true dragon blood, Lu Qingchen only felt that his body was full of strength. Gradually, his body began to turn red, even his sweat turned red, and a red mist rose out. As time passed, Lu Qingchen's body slowly trembled. There seemed to be red golden flames shining in his eyes, and a pair of pupils turned into vertical pupils. This strange phenomenon should only appear in dragons. The red golden flame slowly extinguished, and Lu Qingchen's pupils gradually dimmed and returned to their original appearance. With a thought, Lu Qingchen opened the information panel. Host: Lu Qingchen. Martial Soul. Not activated. Realm: Body Tempering Realm 10th level. Mental Power: 20. Cultivation Method: Burning Heaven Sacred Code, Unknown, open after awakening Martial Soul. Items: Dongguang Bell, Small Good Fortune Pill 2. Ding! Congratulations to the host for forging a peerless foundation. After awakening the Martial Soul, the rewards for the next stage will be automatically issued. Have you reached the 10th level of Body Tempering Realm? You just need to awaken your Martial Soul. Lu Qingchen let out a breath slowly. After exercising my muscles and bones, I feel full of strength, which is a world of difference compared to before. At this time, Lu Qingchen felt a powerful aura coming from his parents' room, and after a while, there was no sound. It seems that Dad is also a person with a story. Lu Qingchen thought to himself. In the next few days, Lu Qingchen asked for leave, saying that he wanted to temper his body, but the head teacher Rhubarb agreed without saying anything after feeling Lu Qingchen's extremely strong blood. The night before the college entrance examination. Jincheng Community, Room 502. Lu Qingchen was gnawing on a rib, while his mother Xia Lan helped her son pack up his clothes. She was still a little worried, and said, "Xiaochen, don't you really need Mom to accompany you to the exam?" Lu Qingchen smiled and said, "Mom, this time the school will pick you up by car and arrange board and lodging. It's really unnecessary. Besides, that boy Yushan will go with me, so don't worry." When Xia Lan heard that Yushan was going with her son, she felt a little relieved and said, "Xiao Yu is quite reliable, you should listen to him more, don't be arrogant, if you really have something to discuss with Xiao Yu." "How come I don't know that kid is reliable?" Lu Qingchen muttered something in his heart, but still smiled and said, "Mom, I will listen to his opinion more, you and Dad will wait for me to win the first place at home and celebrate for me." June 6th. It was only 7 o'clock in the morning, and Yushan was already waiting for him at the door of Lu Qingchen's house. Putting on his backpack, Lu Qingchen went to school with Yushan. There are already many students from Jincheng No. 1 middle school at the gate of the school at this moment, and there are 7 or 8 medium-sized buses parked at the gate, with government logos on them. There are countless private cars, and parents are telling their children. Lu Qingchen and Yushan craned their necks to look around. They were looking for the people from class 3 and 7. While they were searching, they suddenly heard a voice calling him from behind. It was Hong Bing. Seeing Lu Qingchen and Yushan looking over, this guy's voice became louder, shouting, "Hey, Lao Lu, Lao Yu, we're here." It seemed that this guy was well prepared, with a loud voice, which attracted the attention of many parents and students nearby. Under the eyes of everyone, Lu Qingchen and Yushan walked towards Hong Bing with black lines on their heads. As soon as Lu Qingchen came to Hong Bing's side, he saw 2 sisters, Zhang Ying and Shu Man, chatting passionately with the class teacher Rhubarb, while Su Muting and Yan Ziyan were whispering. Lu Yan was sitting on the steps beside her, and when she saw Yushan and Lu Qingchen coming, she quickly got up and walked towards this side. When the distance between Lu Qingchen and Lu Qingchen was less than 1 meter, Lu Yan was already shocked. God, what did I see? The 8th level of the body tempering realm. There is another one that I can't see through. It was obviously at the 6th level of the body tempering realm before. It's only been a few days. Are they monsters? Lu Yan's heart was like a stormy sea, and she forgot to speak for a moment. Seeing that Lu Yan didn't speak, Rhubarb coughed twice and reminded, "Mr. Lu, please tell everyone about the assessment process." Only then did Lu Yan come to her senses, straightened her hair, and smiled at everyone. "Let me tell you about the itinerary now. On June 6th, that is, today, I will take a government vehicle to the Green Hotel in Jinling City. The strength test will begin at 2 p.m. Here I want to popularize it with you. The body tempering realm is divided into 9 levels. The first 3 levels of tempering will increase the strength by 100 kg. The 4th level of the body tempering realm is a qualitative change, and the strength will directly increase to 1000 kg. Quote. Speaking of this, everyone noticed that Lu Yan's face suddenly became serious. She said in a deep voice, "Those who have not reached 1000 kg in this strength test will be eliminated. Of course, I know that all of you have reached the 4th level of body tempering realm. But what I want to remind is that you must go all out in the strength test, don't leave any strength. If you can't pass this level, don't talk about the awakening of the martial soul later. As for the subsequent assessment, I will tell you after you pass the test in the afternoon." Quote. Lu Qingchen and Yu Shan didn't feel much, but the students who had just reached the 4th level of body tempering realm were silent. Hong Bing scratched his head and said, "Do you think I will be eliminated? It's only been a few days since I broke through the 4th layer of body tempering." Lu Yan couldn't help but smile. "You don't have to worry, the school spent a lot of money this time, and each of you will be given a qi and blood pill at noon, and a lunch will be prepared for you, all of which are nourishing qi and blood." The class teacher, Da Huang, also added, "That's right, it's rare for the school to be generous. You are sure that everyone will pass the test?" The encouragement from Lu Yan and head teacher Rhubarb still had some effect, and it was obvious that everyone's mood improved a lot. Inside the bus, in addition to the students in class 3 and 7, the tutors Lu Yan and Da Huang, there were also a few school leaders and 2 soldiers whom they didn't know. A school leader winked at Da Huang. Da Huang paused, coughed, and said, "Students, these are the leaders of our school, and today I made a special trip to accompany you to take the Wuhan University exam." Everyone took a look at Rhubarb and went about their own business. Seeing this, Rhubarb said again, "Today's noon qi and blood pills and the nourishing qi and blood lunch were all bought for you by the leaders themselves. I hope you can achieve good results." Before Lao Huang finished speaking, Lu Qingchen and Yu Shan had already stood up, smiling and saying, "Thank you, leaders, for your hard work." Then all the students in the class stood up, imitating Lu Qingchen and pretending to thank him. One of the middle-aged men with little hair but looking very energetic stood up and said hastily, "Where are you? All the students are geniuses in the school, so there is no need to be so polite. We definitely hope that you will get a good grade and win glory for the school. If you are admitted to Wuhan University, your achievements will be limitless in the future, and you will need your help to help the school and promote us a lot." Lu Qingchen and the others smiled and listened to the school leader's speech. Their smiles were a little stiff. In fact, everyone understands that the more awakened spirits, the greater the chance of being admitted to Wuhan University. Very rich resources for the school. It is said that there were 2 students who were admitted to the 3 famous schools a few years ago, and their head teacher is now the vice principal of Jincheng No. 1 Middle School. The resources rewarded by the 3 famous schools and the government are extremely rich. Although the head teacher is past this age, these resources can be reserved for his descendants. The same goes for martial arts instructors. Each class will have a martial arts instructor, and most of these martial arts instructors are students from the Wuhan University. As for the purpose of being a martial arts lecturer, of course, it is also to find some excellent seeds in advance to bring back to the Wuhan University where he is. The more geniuses brought back to the university, the better the quality, and the richer the training resources will be, but everyone still doesn't know which Wuhan University Lu Yan is from. Every few years, there will be a ranking competition for Wuhan University. It is said that the higher the ranking, the better the resources for each college. In addition to being ranked in the top 3 every year, the 3 famous schools have the most powerful environment, resources, and faculty. It is worth mentioning that there are several major forces behind the 3 famous schools. Among them, the well-known Monster Academy, which is also the number 1 Wuhan University, has the support of the Alchemist Association behind it, which is why countless students want to get in. In addition, the God of War Institute is backed by the military department. In the future, students will be awarded military ranks directly after graduation, and the treatment is also extremely generous. There is also a school called Tiandao Holy Academy, but not many people know about it. They only know that this Wuhan University has a very old history and is supported by mysterious forces behind it. Moreover, the enrollment of this college in the past was not public, and it did not enroll students in the college entrance examination like the previous two colleges. It's just that in recent years, the number of Monster Academy has been too large, and the quality of students has been getting better and better. In the past few years, it has even defeated Tiandao Academy in the qualifying competition, causing Tiandao Academy to fall to third place. So in the past 2 years, Tiandao Academy has also begun to enroll students in the National College Entrance Examination. As for the remuneration, everyone is not very clear. I heard that the welfare remuneration is even better than that of Monster Academy. Therefore, many candidates for the college entrance examination want to awaken the top martial spirit and enter the 3 famous schools. Once you enter the 3 famous schools, you will really reach the sky in one step. At this time, Lu Yan smiled slightly, and said to the leaders, I believe that the students of our 7th class will definitely not forget the school after being admitted to Wuhan University. The students nodded quickly, and the leaders stopped. Everyone sat quietly in the car, waiting for the arrival location. Ding-a-ling, ding-a-ling. Just as everyone was sitting quietly, a bell suddenly sounded. It was Lu Yan's cell phone ringing, and Lu Yan quickly took out her cell phone to answer it. Oh, is that so? Well, I see. After finishing speaking, Lu Yan rubbed her brows, her face was a little heavy, and when she looked up, she was suddenly taken aback. Everyone in the car was staring at her intently. Lu Yan said with a complicated expression, this year, there are too many students in the assessment in the capital, and there are not enough places for the assessment, so some students in the capital are divided into various regions to participate in the assessment. About 1,000 candidates from Kyoto came to Jinling City this time. Quote. Everyone saw that Lu Yan's face was not very good, and Rhubarb asked tentatively. Mr. Lu, the students from Kyoto are just here to take the assessment, so there shouldn't be any problem, right? If it's just an assessment, there is really no problem. It's just that this is the first time this happens, and I'm afraid there will be some accidents. Da Huang patted his thigh and said, I thought it was a big deal. It's all students who just came for the assessment. Besides, there should be tutors and school personnel accompanying you in Kyoto, right? Yes, Mr. Huang is right, don't worry everyone. After more than 2 hours. Jinling City, Tianyang District. Green Hotel. This hotel is the hotel designated by the government for the examination of Wuhan University, a senior high school student. The hotel looked pretty good. Lu Qingchen looked around, it was resplendent and magnificent. Room 404. Lu Qingchen put down his luggage, glanced at the room in front of him, nodded, expressing his satisfaction. Due to the large number of people being assessed, and considering the need to provide students with a good rest environment, the rooms booked are for 2 people, a standard double room. It would be nice if one person could sleep on the same bed. Lu Qingchen glanced at Yushan with weird eyes, thinking, if 2 people slept on the same bed, they wouldn't be able to sleep. Yushan didn't think about it so much. After putting down his luggage, he threw himself on the bed, and the bed creaked under the weight. This bed is so pitiful, Lu Qingchen thought in his heart. The 2 chatted for a while, and then started to do their own things. Because there was still a test in the afternoon, Yushan and Lu Qingchen didn't sleep either. Lu Qingchen was just about to continue studying the Burning Heaven Sacred Code for a while, when there was a knock on the door. Lu Qingchen got up and opened the door. As soon as he opened the door, he found Lu Yan, the martial arts instructor of class 3 and 7, standing outside the door. Lu Qingchen saw that it was Lu Yan. Scratching his head, he asked, Mr. Lu, what's the matter? Before she finished speaking, Lu Yan quickly entered the room and closed the door. Lu Qingchen was taken aback, and said loudly, Mr. Lu, if a man and a woman don't know each other, don't mess around. With a black thread on her hair, Lu Yan knocked on Lu Qingchen's head and said, What are you thinking about? Lu Qingchen rubbed his head, surprised that Lu Yan could knock out a big pimple on his head in the 10th level of body tempering realm with just a single tap. No one saw Lu Yan put her hands behind her back after knocking Lu Qingchen on the head, but Lu Yan smiled and said, There is indeed one thing that needs to be discussed with you. Is it because of people coming from Kyoto today? How do you know? Lu Yan looked at Lu Qingchen, her eyes widened. How do you know? Lu Yan looked at Lu Qingchen, her eyes widened. Lu Qingchen chuckled and said, I can see that you are in a bad mood in the car. Yu Shan also nodded. Indeed, most people could tell that Lu Yan was not in the right mood after answering the phone. Lu Yan took a deep breath, and said to Lu Qingchen and Yu Shan, "You two brats, to be honest, how heavy are you in your body tempering?" Lu Qingchen turned his head to look at Yu Shan, and found that Yu Shan was also staring at him. The two watched their noses with their eyes, their mouths with their noses, and their hearts with their mouths, and said in unison, "The body tempering realm is at the 4th level." Lu Yan was laughed at by these two people, took out 2 qi and blood pills, and said, "How heavy is it?" "The 8th level of the body tempering realm, the 9th level of the body tempering realm." Lu Qingchen and Yu Shan saw that it was beneficial to take it, so they immediately stopped pretending. After finishing speaking, Yu Shan swallowed, turned his head to stare at Lu Qingchen suddenly, and said in shock, "Brother Chen, when did your realm become higher than mine?" Lu Qingchen looked unpredictable, and said, "Brother has always been taller than you before, but he is more low-key." Lu Yan looked at these two live treasures, a little speechless. There was a slight silence in the atmosphere, and Lu Yan said, "Because there are people from the capital, this assessment may not be very peaceful." "What happened? This matter is a bit complicated, I will tell you slowly." Lu Yan brushed her hair, and continued, "People in Kyoto have always felt superior to others, even students are no exception. Moreover, the Monster Academy is located in Kyoto, and almost all the disciples of some big families have been appointed by default. Most of the students in Kyoto have relatively strong family backgrounds, so some students are extremely arrogant. I heard that some colleges even injured others during the assessment, which caused others to fail the assessment due to injuries. Quote, don't those examiners care about them, and the government won't punish these students?" Yu Shan said with an injustice on his face. Lu Yan glanced at him and continued, "The examiners will take care of it, but accidents are inevitable, and some students have strong backgrounds, and some examiners don't want to offend them. As for the government," Lu Yan shook her head, "the government will punish them, but you must know that those students have extremely powerful families, so how can they take ordinary punishments seriously? Moreover, the elders of some students even served in the 3 famous schools, even the government would give a little face." Lu Yan paused and said, "In the future, you will understand that when you become stronger to a certain extent, the rules will change because of you. In this world where warriors are rampant and martial arts are prosperous, whoever has the biggest fist is the truth." Then the meaning of the mentor coming to me and Yu Shan this time is? Lu Qingchen frowned and asked. "It's not a big deal, I just hope that if the people in Kyoto provoke you, you can ignore it, and if they go too far, you can help your classmates as much as you can. After all, in the whole number 1 middle school, only the 2 of you can match those big family children." Quote. After speaking, Lu Yan looked at the two with strange eyes. "No problem, we will try our best to avoid conflicts, if it is really unavoidable, then." Lu Qingchen narrowed his eyes slightly, and slowly said, "If you really can't avoid it, then do it, my generation of warriors, why not be afraid of a fight?" "Good. Promising." Lu Yan's eyes were shining, staring at Lu Qingchen, as if looking at a piece of peerless jade. Yu Shan grinned, "Yes, if it is really unavoidable, then do it." "Okay, it's getting late, I won't disturb your rest." After chatting for a while, Lu Yanyu waved her hand and threw the qi and blood pill to the 2 of them. "Although you don't need to take shishui pills, you can also replace shishui pills with other resources. You must know that martial arts cultivation is inseparable from resources." After saying this, Lu Yan pushed open the door and left the room. Lu Qingchen glanced at Yu Shan. Yu Shan's eyes were full of firmness. Near noon, there was another knock on the door. Yu Shan got up and opened the door. The door was Hong Bing, a classmate in the class. Hong Bing shouted excitedly to Yu Shan and Lu Qingchen, "Come to the head teacher's room to get the qi and blood pills. After receiving the qi and blood pills, we will have dinner together." Lu Qingchen and Yu Shan followed Hong Bing all the way to the door of the head teacher Rhubarb's room. As soon as he entered, he realized that everyone had arrived. Lu Qingchen glanced at Lu Yan, but he didn't see Lu Yan. When Da Huang saw Lu Qingchen looking around, he coughed and said, "Mr. Lu Yan and the leaders are going to buy lunch for everyone, and now we will start distributing qi and blood pills." As he said that, Rhubarb took out 9 small porcelain bottles and distributed them to everyone, except Lu Qingchen and Yu Shan. Everyone took the blood cheat pill as soon as it was distributed. Why don't you two take it? Seeing that Lu Qingchen and Yu Shan didn't take it, Hong Bing couldn't help asking. Lu Qingchen smiled and said, "We'll take it after we finish our meal." Everyone didn't say anything when they saw this. Seeing that everyone has taken it, Rhubarb nodded and said with a smile, "First of all, I wish everyone here to pass the test in the afternoon. Now let's go to the restaurant for dinner. Teacher Lu and the others have almost bought lunch." Everyone got up and followed the class teacher Rhubarb to the restaurant. Gorgeous crystal lamps cast faint light, making the whole restaurant look elegant and quiet. The soft tune filled the entire restaurant, calming down the nervous crowd. There were 9 lunches on the exquisite round dining table, and everyone could smell the strong aroma as soon as they arrived. Yu Shan's nose twitched, and he said excitedly, "I smell the dragon beard fish." Lu Yan was not surprised when she heard Yu Shan's words, and said with a smile, "Yu Shan is right, the leaders are bleeding a lot this time, and lunch is filled with ingredients that nourish qi and blood." Everyone didn't quite know what a dragon beard fish is, so Yu Shan continued, "My dad was lucky enough to buy one from someone else before, and eating a dragon beard fish can increase strength, and I heard that one fish costs 50,000. Quote. Yes, student Yu Shan is right. This lunch not only prepares a dragon beard fish for each student, but also serves it with jade ginseng soup. The rice is also Zilling rice. If I remember correctly, the price of a piece of jade ginseng is about 20,000 yuan, and with Zilling rice and dragon beard fish, the value of this lunch is at least 80,000 yuan. Thinking of this, Lu Qingchen widened his eyes. Good guy, 80,000 for a meal, or 9 people, that's more than 700,000. Everyone also guessed the value of the meal at this moment, looked at each other for a moment, and then rushed to the dining table. I saw Zhang Wei, who looked a little rough, holding his food, and said to the crowd vaguely, "You said, if we didn't awaken our martial soul, would we be sorry for this meal?" When everyone heard this, they immediately felt that the dragon beard and fish in front of them were no longer fragrant. Lu Yan pursed her lips and said with a smile, "Just eat your lunch. Why are you thinking so much? Will it affect your ability to awaken your martial soul if you don't eat this meal?" When the students heard it, they felt that what they said made sense, so they continued to eat with big mouthfuls. I saw Yu Shan finish the last sip of soup. He was the first to finish eating, touched his belly, fell silent for a few seconds, and made a strange sound, "Hi." Zhang Ying on the side looked at him speechlessly and said, "Can you be more gentle? The teachers are all here, learn from Lu Qingchen." Lu Qingchen gave Zhang Ying a strange look, and touched his stomach, a few seconds later. Belch. What a treasure. Lu Yan stroked her forehead. The meal was quickly finished in a relaxed atmosphere. After it was over, Lu Qingchen and his party returned to the room to rest. There are thousands of students in such a huge hotel, and most of them are recharging their energy, so the interior of the hotel is very quiet. Time passed quickly. As the afternoon approached, the atmosphere gradually became tense. Outside the room, the students were walking back and forth, and the heavy footsteps could tell that everyone was not calm. Some teachers had already knocked on the door one by one. "Everyone is up, let's gather downstairs. Everyone, remember to take your ID card and exam admission ticket." With a shout, the hotel started to be noisy, and the students took their admission tickets and ID cards and started to go downstairs. Lu Qingchen and Yu Shan didn't rest much at all, they chatted in the room for a long time. Joke. If the 8th level and 9th level of body tempering realm fail the test, few people will pass. Besides, Lu Qingchen, who had finished his sumptuous lunch, was so angry that he felt like he could kill a cow. Yu Shan is also in a similar situation. Downstairs, Lu Yan's tutor and homeroom teacher Da Huang were already waiting for the students of Class 7. Seeing Lu Qingchen and Yu Shan coming down, Lu Yan hurried up and said, "Remember, don't forget what I told you to, and help your classmates when necessary." Lu Qingchen and the two nodded. At this time, Yan Ziyan and Su Muting also came down. Yan Ziyan saw Lu Qingchen standing there, and didn't say anything, but it was Su Muting who opened his mouth, but didn't say anything after all. Immediately afterwards, Hong Bing and the others also came down. Teachers from various high schools shouted from a loudspeaker as the students descended the stairs. One middle school, come here to gather. From Lingcheng number 2 middle school, line up. The 7th middle school come here to gather. Lu Qingchen and the others walked to the meeting point of Jincheng number 1 middle school, and the efficiency was very fast. In just 3 minutes, the examiner came to roll the roll. The roll call was finished soon, and the students were discussing in private. The teachers leading the teams were shouting, "Quiet!" The examiner walked forward to face everyone, and said in a deep voice, "Students, the first test of Wuhan University is about to begin. Whether you can pass or not, it is very important to continue with the next exam. This is a watershed. Rejoice if you passed, but don't give up if you don't. After all, there is more than one road in life." The examiners began to give these students chicken soup for the soul. Although the chicken soup didn't have any effect on Lu Qingchen, a youth with 5 poisons in his previous life, it worked well for these students who hadn't left society and had no experience at all. Lu Qingchen, who is a young man with 5 poisons, has long been invulnerable to all poisons. After filling several large bowls of chicken soup, the examiners observed the situation of the students, nodded in satisfaction, and said loudly, "The first level of the Wuhan University assessment, the strength test, begins. The next step is division." Everyone heard clearly. Number 00001, Wang Tang, test in Area A. Number 00002, and Lan, test in Area B. No, 00038, Yushan, test in Area A. Number 00088, Lu Qingchen, goes to test. Lu Qingchen and Yushan were lucky enough to be assigned together, while the rest of Jincheng number 1 middle school's class 3 and 7 were assigned to Zone D. After reading the group, one of the examiners said, "Students in District A, follow me." Lu Qingchen and Yushan followed the instructor in charge of Area A to the test site. What came into view was a huge martial arts training hall. There were more than a dozen martial arts instructors in the training hall, including Lu Yan, whom Lu Qingchen and Yushan knew. In the center of the martial arts hall is a huge strength tester. This kind of strength tester is completely different from what Lu Qingchen has seen before. The whole body is black with a metallic luster. The front is a super large square target, and the super large striking surface allows students to fully exert their strength no matter what method they use. This also takes into account that some students have stronger arms and others have stronger legs. Some students were very excited when they saw this kind of strength tester for the first time, and they began to discuss in low voice with the students next to them. "Can this machine really test our strength? I don't know, it seems to be very strong. It goes without saying that this is a special test instrument for the Wuhan University assessment, and its natural quality is excellent." Seeing the students discussing in a low voice, the examiner said seriously, "Everyone be quiet, the test starts now. The students whose names are called come out to test. Number 00001, Wang Tang. I saw a more handsome student walking out of the crowd. It was Wang Tang. Do your best to hit the target in front of you, with your hands and legs." Wang Tang mustered all his strength, his face flushed, and he swung his fist at the square target in front of him. Bang! The strength tester made a sound. The strength test screen next to it displayed several large characters, 1300 kg. "Pass. The next classmate is ready," said the examiner, and recorded it in the notebook. "Woohoo, I've passed." Wang Tang jumped up and down very excitedly, and some martial arts instructors beside him also smiled. Number 00002, Shu Kun. Boom. 888 kg, unqualified, the next one. Wow. I saw that the classmate named Shu Kun looked desperate and began to cry, and several students came to him to comfort him. Number 00038, Yushan. Everyone saw an extremely tall and strong man with a height of more than 2 meters coming out of the crowd. It was Yushan. Yushan walked to the strength tester. Without the slightest hesitation, he punched out. Boom. The square target shook for a while. Immediately, several large characters slowly appeared on the screen of the strength tester, jumping to 4,000 in an instant, then slowly rising, and finally fixed at 4100 kg. 4100 kg, the examiner announced loudly, showing excitement. "Students, you look at me, I look at you, and there is an instant noise. Impossible, is this something a senior high school student can do? It must be cheating, cheating. Examiner, I want to retest his age. This student doesn't look like a high school student at all. Yushan scratched his head and said aggrievedly, although I am a bit stronger, I am indeed a senior high school student. Quiet. The students who can come here today have been screened and screened, how can they cheat? Also, if you can't do it, it doesn't mean that others can't do it. If you have time to say that others are cheating, it's better to go home and practice more. Quote. The examiner said in a low voice with a cold face. Lu Yan also showed a smile at this time. Next, number 00039, Wang Chang. A somewhat thin student stepped out from the crowd. It was the student who just said that Yushan cheated. After a while, 666 kg, unqualified, the next one. When the examiner reported the data, everyone burst into laughter, and Wang Chang wanted to find a crack in the ground to get in. Soon we arrived at Lu Qingchen, and saw Lu Qingchen walking out of the crowd, smiling brightly at the examiner and saying, Master Examiner, if you break the tester, will you ask me to pay for it? The examiner glanced at Lu Qingchen, who was tall but not particularly strong. The corner of his mouth twitched, and said, If you can break the tester, I will compensate you. Lu Qingchen nodded, so he was relieved. Standing in front of the square target, Lu Qingchen's legs suddenly exerted strength, and when he turned his body slightly, he burst out with powerful force. Lu Qingchen's fist hit the square with a bang, like the speed of light, with an afterimage, on the target. Boom! The strength tester suddenly made a loud noise. After a few seconds, the screen of the tester instantly jumped to 4999, then changed slowly, and finally cracked with a click. That's right, it's just cracked. The limit of this strength tester is 5000 kg. No one should be able to reach such a terrifying strength of 5000 kg in the body tempering realm. But the person in front of me is hooked. Lu Qingchen, who had swallowed the Great Heaven Fortune pill and transformed his body with the blood of the real dragon, had a physical quality that could only be described as terrifying. Its strength is far beyond that of warriors of the same realm, and its peerless foundation has been completed. Everyone saw that the examiner's mouth was wide open, as if he wanted to say something, but in the end, he held back. A look of helplessness appeared on the instructor's face. He walked out of the training ground quickly, and before leaving, he said, You are all waiting here. The tester is no longer working. I will report the situation to the higher-ups and be right back. And after his figure disappeared, the students who had just calmed down suddenly became excited again. Why did I get assigned to this district? There are no people in this district, they are all perverts. I'm not testing anymore, I'm going home, Mom. Hearing that some people called mother, Lu Qingchen couldn't help but sighed. Hey, why are the young people's hearts so poor now? Of course, not only these students, but even the martial arts instructors present were talking about it. Who is this student? We want it from Anping Wuhan University. Just this kind of student, the 3 famous schools will not let it go. Body tempering realm 5000 kg, there is another 4100 kg. Please note that the tester exploded, it may not be more than 5000 kg. While many mentors were discussing, Lu Yan remained silent. She went straight to Lu Qingchen and Yushan, with a serious look on her face. I now officially invite you to the Heavenly Tao Holy Court. Although the martial soul has not yet been awakened, as long as one of the 2 of you awakens the martial soul, then both of you can directly enter the Heavenly Tao Holy Academy. Quote. As for the treatment, it depends on your awakened martial soul talent, but I can guarantee that even if there is one person who has not awakened the martial soul, his treatment will be the same as that of ordinary outer courtyard students of the Heavenly Tao Holy Academy. Lu Yan stared at the 2. How about it? Do you think about it? No matter what kind of martial soul is awakened, can the Heavenly Tao Holy Academy teach it? After a few seconds of silence, Lu Qingchen popped out such a sentence. Lu Yan froze for a moment. She didn't expect a student to ask such a question. After pondering for a moment, she nodded affirmatively. Of course, there are countless martial arts teachers in Tiandao Holy Academy, and there are all kinds of martial arts. Moreover, the history of Tiandao Shengyuan is also the oldest, and all kinds of strange martial spirits are also recorded, which is incomparable to the other 2 famous schools. Then I'm fine. What about Yushan? Lu Qingchen nodded in agreement. Brother Chen, I'll go wherever you go. Yu Shan smiled innocently. Okay, then I will report to you first, and I will tell you the specific treatment after the awakening of the martial soul is over. Lu Yan didn't expect the two to agree so quickly, and the smile on her face couldn't stop. But just after Lu Yan left, Lu Qingchen and Yu Shan heard someone shouting outside. It's not good, someone in District D is fighting with someone from Kyoto. As soon as these words came out, the students in the entire test site became excited. Brothers, watch the fun. Who knows who let out a howl, and one after another the students rushed to the D area, and the examiners and martial arts instructors on the field couldn't even stop them. No way, there are too many students for this assessment. Lu Qingchen didn't pay much attention to it at first, but suddenly thought that the other students in the class seemed to be assigned to Zone D, so he hurriedly rushed over with Yu Shan. Area D test site. The boys in Class 7, headed by Hong Bing, Shuzan and Zhang Wei, formed a circle back-to-back, with a few girls in the middle of the circle. Su Muting sat on the ground and cried, while Zhang Ying and Shu Man sat beside her and comforted Su Muting while staring at the people in Kyoto. Around Hong Bing, Zhang Wei, and Shuzan, there were about a dozen students from Kyoto. Beside them, Yanzi Enjang whispered something to a student with a sinister appearance and some pockmarks on his face. Seeing the student with the pockmarked face grinning and nodding, Yan Ziyan almost jumped up excitedly. Then the two of them stood beside them with their arms folded, staring at the scene in front of them as if they were watching a play. Yu Shan, who came here, strode over directly. Seeing his extremely strong physique, everyone couldn't help stepping out of the way. Striding forward, Yu Shan casually picked up one of the dozen or so people surrounding Class 7 and threw it aside. Seeing Yu Shan and Lu Qingchen approaching, Hong Bing hurried forward and said anxiously. The man from Kyoto wanted Su Muting to be his girlfriend, but Su Muting didn't agree, so the man acted like a rascal and got entangled. Zhang Wei went up to stop him and was punched a few times. It's him. Hong Bing pointed to Yan Ziyan and the student with pockmarks beside him, and explained. And Yan Ziyan, who saw the people in the capital flirting with Su Muting, it's fine if he didn't stop him, and he told us that those who know the current affairs are the best. Zhang Ying next to him looked angry, obviously disgusted by Yan Ziyan's actions. That's right, Su Muting regards him as a good friend, and he has the nerve to say such a thing. Shu Man, who was beside him, said softly. At this moment, a dozen people from Kyoto saw Yu Shan approaching, and a dozen students at the 5th and 6th levels of the body tempering realm erupted in an instant. Facing such arrogance, Hong Bing, Zhang Wei, the students in Class 3 and 7, all of them seemed to be choked by someone, and their faces turned red in an instant. Humph! Seeing this scene, Yu Shan snorted coldly, and the aura of the 8th level of body tempering realm surged towards the dozen or so people in Kyoto like a wave in an instant. The faces of those closest to Yu Shan turned red immediately after feeling the majestic momentum, and their minds went blank. Meanwhile, Hong Bing, Shu Man and the others standing beside them all had their eyes wide open, staring blankly at Yu Shan, who was like a god of war. Lu Qingchen stepped forward to help Su Muting, and the two sisters Zhang Ying and Shu Man stood behind Yu Shan. Although that incident happened before, but after all, he is still a classmate, so it is impossible to turn a blind eye. Besides, Lu Yan also told him before that if the students in the class have difficulties, try to help them. It wasn't until the pressure that the few people in Kyoto were almost out of breath that Yu Shan slowly regained his momentum. After withdrawing the aura of the 8th level of body tempering realm, the students in Kyoto could no longer resist and fell to the ground one after another. Glancing at the dozen or so Kyoto students who were lying down in front of him, Yu Shan turned around and asked everyone. Are you all right? Fine. Hong Bing and the others shook their heads, indicating that they were fine. Whoosh! But at this moment, a sharp palm wind suddenly struck. In a hurry, Yu Shan could only cross his arms to block the blow, but he was still beaten back a few steps. It was the student with the pockmarked face who made the move. Looking at Yu Shan, who had stepped back a few steps in front of him, he had a sneer on his face. I thought it was so powerful. It turned out that it would only bully students who were lower than myself, but that's all. Yu Shan couldn't help being furious when he heard the words, and immediately prepared to fight back. But just as he was about to fight back, a howling wind suddenly reached his ears, and then, a familiar figure flashed in front of his eyes. Boom! There was a dull sound of an object falling to the ground, and everyone saw the pockmarked young man being punched flying, and then hit the ground heavily. What kind of thing are you? You're just a poor fool who attacks low-level students. Lu Qingchen shouted loudly, a coldness flashed in his eyes. Do you know who I am? The pockmarked student was helped up by Yan Xian, and immediately yelled at Lu Qingchen. Lu Qingchen smiled contemptuously. I don't care who you are, even if I am the king of heaven, if I dare to touch my brother, I will hit you. You are courting death. Hearing this, the pockmarked student couldn't help shouting angrily. No one had dared to speak to him like this in all these years. Yao Chengwu, what's going on, what happened? A martial arts instructor seemed to have heard his voice, and hurried over, asking angrily. Mr. Hu, this man sneaked up on me, kill him quickly. The pockmarked student who was called Yao Chengwu saw this person approaching, a sinister look flashed in his eyes, and he quickly shouted. Hearing this, the mentor named Hu immediately cast his eyes on Lu Qingchen, and asked in a cold voice, is that Yao Chengwu you injured? Lu Qingchen couldn't help grinning when he heard the words, he didn't expect this kind of thing to happen to him. With a sneer, Lu Qingchen looked at the mentor. Why, beat the young ones, and come the old ones. Is it possible that everyone in the capital is like this? HMPH, I don't know a little bit of etiquette at such a young age. Since this is the case, I will teach you a lesson for your parents. Teacher Hu Xing snorted coldly when he heard the words, and the aura in his body exploded like a wave, and swept out towards Lu Qingchen in front of him. In an instant, Lu Qingchen felt a heavy pressure like a mountain. This pressure pressed firmly on his shoulders, as if it wanted to crush his whole body. At this moment, the tiles under his feet had been cracked inch by inch. Lu Qingchen, bearing the pressure as heavy as a mountain, ran the burning sacred code to resist with all his strength, and gritted his teeth and said, Old dog, you can only use your realm to suppress people, right? Either I die here today, young master, or I survive, and I will definitely take your head in the future. Without any intention of giving in, Lu Qingchen's eyes were cold, and there was a killing intent in his heart. The tutor surnamed Hu couldn't help being furious when he heard the words. He didn't expect a young student to dare to speak to him like this. Raising his palm high, the instructor's eyes flickered coldly, and he wanted to kill Lu Qingchen directly here. You are courting death. Lu Yan, who had just reported the situation to her superiors, saw this scene as soon as she came back. Without any hesitation, Lu Yan shot directly at him. The turbulent soul power surged out, and a silver light beam burst out from her eyes, piercing straight towards the mentor in front. At the same time, Lu Yan's figure flickered, and she pulled Lu Qingchen behind her in an instant. Suffering a sudden mental attack, the tutor surnamed Hu let out a muffled snort, and blood flowed from the 7 orifices. You wanna die. The mentor surnamed Hu woke up from the dizziness was suddenly furious. He didn't expect that the woman who looked very young in front of him was not inferior to him in strength. The soul power in his body gathered crazily, and the mentor prepared to fight back without hesitation. Stop. Just when he was about to launch an offensive against Lu Yan, there was a loud shout from afar. I have seen Mr. Punisher. After seeing the silver mask on the middle-aged man's face, all the instructors present quickly bowed and saluted. Lu Yan and the old man surnamed Hu naturally also saw it, snorted coldly, the two stopped what they were doing, and saluted with fists together. I've seen the silver torturer. The leading middle-aged man nodded, and then asked. What happened? Tell the truth. My lord, it's like this. The people in Kyoto molested the girls of Jincheng No. 1 middle school, and then the students of class 7 stopped them. Then Yao Chengwu from Kyoto suddenly launched a sneak attack. In the end, it was teacher Hu who took action against the students. Quote. One of the instructors heard this and hurriedly explained. I see. The middle-aged man snorted coldly. It seems that the people of the Monster Academy have become more and more presumptuous in recent years. A mentor from a mere courtyard outside the district dares to take action against a student assessed by Wuhan University. Follow me back to the Temple of Heavenly Punishment and wait for punishment. Quote. When the instructor surnamed Hu heard that he was going to be taken to the Temple of Heavenly Punishment, he immediately became anxious. Regardless of everyone's contemptuous gazes, he cried bitterly and begged for mercy. Mister. I know it's wrong. I don't want to go to the Heavenly Punishment Hall. It's just that the middle-aged man didn't listen to the teacher surnamed Hu. He waved his hand and said coldly, "Take away." Then, several members of the Temple of Heavenly Punishment who accompanied him immediately stepped forward, put on the bracelet of the mentor surnamed Hu, and took him away. Lu Yan thanked Mr. Executioner here on behalf of the Heavenly Tao Holy Academy. Lu Yan smiled and saluted the middle-aged man. "You're welcome." The middle-aged man waved his hand. "Fair law enforcement is what we should do. The Monster Academy has become more and more arrogant in recent years. Although the Hall Master and the others are not there, someone has to come out to face it." After the words fell, the middle-aged man nodded at Lu Yan, and then disappeared in a stream of light. Chapter 11. Seeing the people from Tianxing Hall leave, Lu Yan turned around and stared at Lu Qingchen and Yu Shan, and said with concern, "Are you two okay? Do you want me to help you?" "No need." Both Lu Qingchen and Yu Shan shook their heads. Except for Yu Shan's blow, Lu Qingchen didn't suffer any substantial damage, and with Yu Shan's physique, that blow didn't hurt him at all. "Okay then." Lu Yan nodded when she heard the words. The storage ring flashed. She took out a small porcelain bottle, poured out 2 white pills and handed them to the two. "This is the Weiqi pill. It can be regarded as a reward for the two of you. After taking it, take a good rest and prepare for tomorrow's assessment." "Hey, thank you, Teacher Lu Yan." Lu Qingchen and the two couldn't help laughing when they heard the words, and after receiving the pill, they swallowed it directly under the watchful eyes of the surrounding crowd. After the elixir entered the stomach, a cool feeling grew in the body. After a while, Lu Qingchen and Yu Shan only felt that the soul power in their bodies seemed to have increased a little. As expected of being the mentor of the Heavenly Tao Holy Academy, it's so cool to make such a generous move. Sensing the changes in his body, Lu Qingchen almost cried out in comfort. Lu Yan at the side was relieved when she saw that both Yu Shan and Lu Qingchen had taken the pill, and said to everyone, "Now that everyone has finished the assessment, let's go back to the hotel and rest together." After the words fell, Lu Yan left the testing site first. Lu Qingchen and Yu Shan's group hurriedly followed, but when they got to Yan Xian's side, Lu Qingchen sneered in a low voice, "You really deserve to be the monitor of Class 7. After hearing the words, Yan Xian just clenched his fists and stood there without daring to say anything. Yan Xian didn't raise his head until everyone had left. But the expression on his face changed, and after a few seconds, he gritted his teeth and growled, "After Yao Xiao takes me into the 3 famous schools, we will see whose choice is right." However, the students in Class 7 had already left here, so no one heard what Yan Xian said. On the way back to the hotel, perhaps it was because everyone had passed the strength assessment and was in a very good mood, and the atmosphere quickly became lively. "Mr. Lu, what happened to the silver torturer just now? Why don't you even pay attention to the tutors from the 3 famous schools?" Hong Bing asked excitedly, his eyes full of envy. Yes, Teacher Lu, please tell us." The other students quickly echoed after hearing the words. They also wanted to know who this silver torturer was, and why he held such great power that he dared to detain even the instructor of the Monster Academy. Lu Qingchen was also very curious. It's hard for him to think that there is such a force other than the 3 famous schools, and even the Monster Academy is not afraid at all. Seeing the expectant eyes of the students in front of her, Lu Yan nodded helplessly. "Well, actually, I don't know much, so I'll just tell you briefly. The Temple of Heavenly Punishment, you can tell from the name that it is an organization representing punishment, and every member in it has to go through layers of screening. In addition, they recruit some talented students from all Wuhan University students every year. Of course, among the recruited students, Xinxing is the first test, and then there are layers of assessments. It is not easy to pass. And these rules are acquiesced by all major martial arts schools, even the 3 famous schools are no exception. It is also for this reason that the torturers in the Temple of Heavenly Punishment have a very high status. No matter what your status is, as long as the torturer judges that you have committed a major mistake, he will bring you back to the Temple of Heavenly Punishment." Quote, "Mr. Lu, didn't you say that there are countless strong people from the 3 famous schools? Why are they willing to abide by the rules set by the Temple of Heaven's Punishment?" Su Muting couldn't help asking, and just after she finished asking, she lowered her head again. Lu Yan glanced at the female classmate and continued. "Someone once asked this question, but then something happened that shocked all the forces in Wagwo. Lu Yan was thinking, and began to recall what happened back then. What's the matter? A group of people couldn't help but look at each other when they heard the words, and they all asked in unison. I also heard it from others, but I don't know if it's true or not. Lu Yan waved her hand, signaling for everyone to listen. It is rumored that one day, a core student of the Monster Academy fell in love with an ordinary female student of the Wuhan University, but after the pursuit failed, he became angry and beat the female student seriously. And when the dean of the Wuhan University knew about it, he brought most of the instructors of the academy to the student of the Monster Academy and asked him to give an explanation. Unexpectedly, he was beaten to the brink of death by an elder of the Monster Academy. Many instructors in an academy were left with only one breath, and almost all of them were sent back lying down. Quote, "How can Monster Academy do this?" When everyone heard this, they immediately looked angry. They didn't expect Wagwo's number one academy to behave like this. But Lu Yan didn't pay attention to their words, but continued to explain. The Monster Academy's move was later reported to the Temple of Heavenly Punishment, and the Temple of Heavenly Punishment immediately sent kings to heal the wounds of many mentors of this Wuhan University, and even dispatched the Golden Slayer to the Monster Academy to arrest the elder and the student. As a result, needless to say, although the elder had a strong cultivation base, he was no match for the Golden Torturer in the Temple of Heavenly Punishment, and he was seriously injured within a few rounds. And just when the Golden Torturer was going to capture the elder of the Monster Academy and bring him back to the palace, he did not expect the vice president of the Monster Academy to make a move. It is said that the elder of the Monster Academy is the descendant of the vice principal, and the vice principal of the Monster Academy is extremely powerful. He not only violated the rules and severely injured the Golden Punisher, but even said cruelly that the people in the Temple of Heavenly Punishment should not run wild on the territory of the Monster Academy. Quote, "The Monster Academy is so arrogant, how can the Hall of Punishment let it go?" When Lu Qingchen heard this, he couldn't help asking. "Of course I won't let it go." Lu Yan nodded to him, and continued. This move naturally angered the people in the Temple of Heavenly Punishment. Just after the Golden Torturer returned to the palace with his seriously injured body, Qingtian Torturer, one of the 4 great torturers in the Temple of Heavenly Punishment, announced his departure from the mountain. He took 6 golden torturers by himself and directly entered the Monster Academy. The vice president of the Monster Academy appeared naturally, and attacked the people in the Tianxing Hall, but in less than 3 rounds, he was taken away by the Qingtian Torturer, along with the elder and the student. Quote, "The vice president has been taken away, can Monster Academy let it go?" Yu Shan couldn't help asking. "Of course I won't let it go." On that day, the head of the Monster Academy took several old monsters to the Heavenly Punishment Hall to ask for someone, but in the end they were suppressed by a big hand, and they were released after 3 full days. Later, it was not over until the head of the Monster Academy went to the ordinary Wuhan University to apologize and compensate a lot of resources. But the vice president, the elder and the students never came back. Quote, "And from then on, no one from all the powers in Wagwo dared to stop the people from Tianxing Palace from carrying out their mission." Recalling this rumor, Lu Yan also felt a little emotional. But no one saw that Lu Yan had a complex look on her face after she finished speaking. Only the students were all excited after listening to it, and Hongbing and Zhang Ying couldn't help but daydream. It would be great if I could enter the Heavenly Punishment Hall in the future. Let's see if the people in Kyoto dare to be so arrogant. As long as you can enter the Wuhan University, there is still hope that you will be favored by the Temple of Heavenly Punishment. Lu Yan also smiled after hearing the words, and encouraged everyone by the way. The group returned to the hotel just like this, and the class teacher Da Huang was waiting for them to come back at the door. "How about it? How many people passed the assessment?" Rhubarb stared at Yushan and the others nervously, and asked. Hong Bing, on the other hand, looked smug, and smiled at the class teacher. "Everyone passed." "Real." Rhubarb immediately became excited when he heard the words. Lu Qingchen seriously suspected that if it wasn't for his age, Lao Huang would jump up excitedly. Since the assessment ended early and all the students in the class passed, it was rare for Lao Huang to treat everyone to an afternoon tea generously. "By the way, Teacher Lu, tell us about tomorrow's assessment process. Also, when will the martial soul awakening ceremony start?" On the table, Zhang Wei, who looked a little rough, asked aloud. As soon as they heard the awakening of the martial soul, everyone cheered up, and Lu Qingchen was no exception. I was just about to tell you. Lu Yan took a sip of tea and said seriously. Tomorrow morning there will be an attribute induction talent test. This test is to initially detect the attributes of the martial soul in your body, such as gold, wood, water, fire, and earth. Lu Qingchen probably understands what it means. It means to check in advance what kind of attributes the Wuhan might have. Then how to detect it? Shu Man asked softly. Tomorrow there will be an attribute sensor stone, and you can detect any talent by putting your hands on it. Generally speaking, the stronger the light emitted by the attribute sensor stone, the more monotonous the color, the stronger the martial soul. Quote. Then what if there is no light? Yu Shan asked with a puzzled expression. If it doesn't glow, then I'm sorry, you don't need to participate in the martial soul awakening ceremony. If the attribute sensor stone doesn't glow, it means you don't have a martial soul. Lu Yan waved her hand with a look of helplessness on her face. Ah, everyone, I look at you, and you look at me. Yes, because you need to start the martial soul awakening ceremony if you want to awaken the martial soul. There are too many people and it takes too much time, so we can only weed out some students in this way. The students nodded thoughtfully. But you don't have to worry too much. For students with martial spirits, the induction stone will naturally glow, and after this round of testing, many instructors from the Wuhan University will recruit students in advance. For example, for those with strong attributes, many mentors from Wuhan University will compete for them, and even offer very deep conditions. Of course, if you have confidence in yourself, you can wait for Wuhan to awaken before choosing a school. But when Lu Yan said this, she paused. However, there are also some students who have rejected the invitation of the instructors. When they awaken their martial souls, their martial soul talents are not very good. If this is the case, if you want to get a better martial soul university is hard. Then it's all about luck. Everyone was in a complicated mood. Martial arts cultivation is inseparable from luck. Starting from the awakening of the martial soul, those who have awakened the top martial soul will be carefully cultivated by the major forces, and those who have awakened the useless martial soul are even ignored, not awakened. Besides, some people reincarnate well, build their foundations from childhood, improve their physique, and have blood martial souls. These are all luck, and luck is also a part of strength. Quote. Lu Yan looked serious. Don't underestimate luck. Many soul fighters who can cultivate to a high level are inseparable from luck. Can you imagine a waste martial soul cultivated to the pinnacle of this world? Let me tell you, there is such a soul warrior in the Temple of Heavenly Punishment. Quote. It's just that no one would have thought that Lu Yan's words would have much impact on these students who have not formally entered the world of martial arts in the future. The students in Class 7 just felt as if a mysterious door had been opened in front of them, and the scene inside the door made them yearn for it. In the evening, Lu Qingchen was comprehending the holy code of burning heaven, while Yushan was playing with the square object picked up from the scrap factory. Suddenly, the door was knocked open. Yushan went to open the door, and Su Muting was outside the door. What are you doing here? Yushan asked with a sullen face. I came to see Lu Qingchen. I want to say a few words to him. Su Muting lowered her head and said cautiously. Just as Yushan wanted to refuse for Lu Qingchen stood up, shook his head at Yushan, and said. I'll go out for a while, it's okay. But it's okay, I'll be back soon. Lu Qingchen patted Yushan on the shoulder. Only then did Yushan reluctantly return to the bed. Outside the door, Lu Qingchen and Su Muting walked side by side, neither of them talking. After each was silent for a while, Su Muting said to Lu Qingchen anxiously. Lu Qingchen, I'm sorry, Lu Qingchen waved his hand and interrupted. Don't tell me you're sorry, there's nothing wrong with having your own ideas when you grow up. But, if it's an apology, there's no need to say it, it's just that little thing. Lu Qingchen said. Everyone has a choice. No matter what we do, we are still classmates. As for the previous incident, it has passed. Lu Qingchen then smiled and continued. It's getting late, go back to your room and rest early, I'll go back first. Su Muting watched Lu Qingchen's back gradually leaving, and when she said that sentence to her at the end, although she was smiling, she could feel a trace of indifference in that smile. What I want is the purest relationship. If a complete friendship or love has been divided into two halves or has stains, it is better not to. If it continues, it will be a deformed relationship, and it will end in endless pain and struggle. It's better to end it as soon as possible. Quote. Lu Qingchen had complicated thoughts, and said with emotion, he suddenly thought of what his sister Lu Qingxie said to him before leaving. Xiaochen, some feelings need to be tested constantly, but often these feelings cannot stand the test. Only after experiencing many failures will you find the most suitable person for you to spend your whole life with. But the sad thing is that the one you love the most often does not choose you, the one who loves you the most is often not the one you love the most. Lu Qingchen recalled that when he was young, he played with Yushan and Su Muting every day, and went to and from school together. Every time he and Yushan did something bad, got into trouble and got scolded, Su Muting would always speak for them. My thoughts kept going back to Su Muting's words that day, we are adults after all, so we should keep our distance. Then think of Yan Xian's sneer and Yushan's unwillingness. Walking out of the hotel, Lu Qingchen's eyes had turned red, and the fire in his heart was burning more and more. Walking to an open place, Lu Qingchen performed his exercises and displayed the combat skills in the Burning Heaven Sacred Code for the first time. Lu Qingchen unleashed the Fenshin Sacred Fist. In this empty space, he made a rumbling sound and couldn't help muttering. In the past and present, how many people are honored? Once you enter martial arts, you will fight for thousands of years. Chin and drums rang, gold Ge Ming, and blood stained the starry sky. Just ask the world, who is the hero? Phoenix Divine Fire, Golden Crow Emperor Flame. Burn the whole world, and destroy all directions with flames. I can't burn my children's love forever. With the rise of the storm, the arrogance of heaven, and the pinnacle of martial arts, who is the hero? Blood splattered the sky, and swords rushed to the sky. Only, war, war, war. Lu Qingchen's hair fluttered, his blood was surging, and the aura of the body-tempering realm was unreservedly displayed, and the air around him rumbled. It took him a long time to calm down, and his heart was like a mirror. What kind of love between children? In this life, the only thing to do is to climb the martial arts. If you don't reach the peak, you will never give up. What Lu Qingchen didn't know was that all of this was seen by Lu Yan, who was relaxing on the rooftop of the hotel. At first, Lu Yan just saw Lu Qingchen coming out of the hotel alone. She was a little curious, then she became more and more shocked as she watched, and couldn't help muttering, this kid. How can he know combat skills? Also, what battle song was read? Why, I haven't heard of it. What a good way to ask the world, who is the hero? Quote. Lu Yan's eyes were burning, as if she was looking at a piece of rare and beautiful jade. After returning to the hotel and opening the door, Yushan saw that Lu Qingchen had returned, and hurriedly asked. She said what you said, it's all right, don't believe the woman's nonsense, last time she said in class. The more Yushan talked, the more angry he became. Lu Qingchen patted Yushan's shoulder, and said with a helpless smile. I didn't say anything, she and I are still classmates. Now we don't think about the relationship between our children. We only have martial arts in our hearts. After listening to Lu Qingchen, Yushan stared at Lu Qingchen, was silent for a few seconds, and sighed. It's really just a classmate. The two looked at each other and smiled, knowing in their hearts. Only martial arts. The night passed quickly. Early the next morning. So comfortable. Lu Qingchen just got up, stretched his waist, and sighed. It may be because of the first time he used his combat skills last night, Lu Qingchen's eyes were bright, and he looked extraordinarily energetic. After washing up, Lu Qingchen woke up Yushan, who was sleeping soundly. After both of them washed up, they walked out of the room and headed to the restaurant of the hotel. Not many people came to have breakfast. Lu Qingchen was just about to find a seat with Yushan when he heard Lu Yan's voice. This way. Lu Yan waved her hand. Lu Qingchen and Yushan walked towards Lu Yan. Lu Yan was discussing yesterday's test with the homeroom teacher, Da Huang. When she saw Lu Qingchen coming, she hurriedly called them over. I haven't seen you for a day. Teacher Lu has become more beautiful again. Lu Qingchen was in a rare good mood, and teased him. Really? Lu Yan smiled and said, then tell me how beautiful I am. Forehead. Lu Qingchen didn't expect Lu Yan to ask this question, and raised his hand to express his surrender. Little guy, compared to your elder sister, you are still tender. Lu Yanjiao said with a smile. Let's eat something together. Before he finished speaking, he saw that Lu Qingchen had already picked up a bun in his left hand and soy milk in his right hand. Yu Shan was not like Lu Qingchen. He was holding fried dough sticks. Just know how to eat. Lu Yan looked at the two speechlessly. Rhubarb smiled beside him. Eat more, eat more. While Lu Qingchen was munching on the buns, other students in the class also came. It seemed that everyone had a good rest last night. Only Su Muting's eyes were bloodshot, as if she cried last night. Since everyone is here, let me tell you about the content of today's assessment. Last time, I briefly told everyone that the attribute talent test will be carried out first. As long as there is talent, it will continue with the Wuhan awakening ceremony, but those without attribute talent can only be eliminated. Lu Yan paused, then continued. What I need to remind everyone here is that if you are detected to have attribute talent, and Wuhan University recruits you in advance, try to agree as much as possible. Unless you are particularly confident in yourself or have a hard head. Talents are generally divided into 4 types: Heaven and Earth Xuanwang, the lowest yellow grade, and the highest Heaven grade. Generally, if you are talented at the prefectural level, the 3 famous schools will start to recruit you. Quote. Having said that, Lu Yan smiled. To tell you the truth, I am the mentor of the Heavenly Dao Holy Academy. If you have awakened the talent of the Earth attribute, you should consider the Heavenly Dao Holy Academy. Lu Yan stuck out her tongue and said playfully. All the students present were shocked. They did not expect that the gentle tutors beside them were from the 3 famous schools. Hong Bing leaned forward shamelessly. Mr. Lu, I think all of our classmates should be Tianpin, or else just recruit us into the academy. After finishing speaking, he showed a self-conscious smile. Lu Yan was amused by Hong Bing, patted his head, and joked. I don't want to be kicked out as soon as I go back. If you can beat the dean, I will take you in. Upon hearing this, Yu Shan leaned over and asked. How strong is the dean? Lu Qingchen glanced at Yu Shan in shock, and thought to himself, this guy won't be really crazy to go to the dean for a discussion, right? Just don't pull me, I don't want to get beaten. Everyone seemed to see black lines on Lu Yan's head. Lu Yan stroked her forehead and said. Okay, you win. Rhubarb next to him smiled almost to the ears. There are still 10 minutes to prepare for the test, everyone go downstairs and gather. Just as everyone was laughing, there was the sound of assembly. Rhubarb patted his clothes, stood up and said, I won't go. Instructor Lu Yan will take these little guys with me. Finally, I wish everyone the king's return. Received, everyone said in unison. Everyone walked to the meeting point of Jincheng No. 1 middle school, and the efficiency was still very fast. The examiner came in only 3 minutes. There will be no divisions this time. After checking the attributes and talents, you can go back to the hotel to rest first, and the Wuhan awakening ceremony in the afternoon. The examiner glanced at the many students and said in a deep voice, everyone follow me now. When everyone came to an open field, they saw a stone pillar about 1 person high in the center of the field, and a dark stone on the top of the stone pillar. Next, when I click on someone, I will come up, put my hand on the attribute sensor stone for 3 seconds, and then wait for a while. Number 00001, Wang Tang. Quote, Lu Qingchen has some impressions of this person, not because he has the qualifications of a great emperor. Rather, the previous strength test was also the first to be tested. Wang Tang, who was more handsome, walked out of the crowd and rolled up his sleeves. Then put your hand on the attribute induction stone for 3 seconds as the examiner said. After a few seconds of silence, the attribute sensor stone emitted a faint yellow light. The examiner announced loudly, Earth attribute talent, Huang Pin. Wang Tang blushed, jumped up excitedly, and said excitedly. Great, great, I have a martial soul, my father will be very happy to know. The students were also very excited when they saw the talent was detected by the first student. Number 00005, Zhou Xin. A thinner but more handsome boy stepped out of the crowd. After the boy named Zhou Xin put his hand on it and waited for a few seconds, there was no light. No 00005, no talent, said the examiner. No, how could I have no talent, woo woo. The student named Zhou Xin turned pale and sobbed when the examiner announced that he had no talent. Many students began to feel heavy when they heard Zhou Xin's cry. Number 00008, no talent. Number 00009, no talent. Comma, 00037, no talent. Except for student no. 00001 Wong Tang, none of the students up to no 00037 had an attribute talent. The empty field was full of students, but there was no sound in the field at the moment. The students who hadn't started the test seemed a little uneasy, each with a heavy heart. Next, number 00038, Yushan. The examiner saw a student who was about 2 meters tall and much stronger than himself walked out of the crowd. Lu Qingchen clearly saw the examiner's mouth twitch twice. Hey, is this the right physique for your age? The examiner shouted in his heart. Put your hand on the attribute induction stone and wait for a few seconds. It may be that Yushan looks relatively simple and honest, the examiner couldn't help reminding. I saw Yushan put his palm the size of a cattail fan on the attribute induction stone. A few seconds later, a golden light appeared, instantly blinding everyone's 24 titanium alloy dog eyes. Metallic talent, Tianpin, the examiner announced with his eyes wide open and his voice trembling. In an instant, the crowd boiled instantly. After a while, a martial arts instructor swallowed, and said with difficulty. This classmate, I now invite you to enter the new Taipei Martial Spirit University, and the treatment is negotiable. This is when many mentors reacted, and said scramblingly. New North Wuhan University can't do it, come to our Xinan Wuhan University. You all go away, come to our Lishu Martial Soul University as the kingly way. Comma, these mentors from Wuhan University are going crazy, Tianpin. I don't know how many people there are, only one out of them. At this time, Lu Yan smiled slightly at the many mentors in front of her. Mentors, I'm sorry, this person is me, a student of the Heavenly Tao Holy Academy. As soon as the voice fell, the test site fell silent in an instant. I saw these students talking one after another. It turned out to be a student from the 3 famous schools, no wonder he can reach the talent of Tianpin. It's not surprising, it's not surprising. It should be recruited in advance. The Heavenly Tao Holy Academy is so quick. I'm really envious, I entered the 3 famous schools so quickly. It would be great if we were Tianpin talents next, and Earth grades are also fine. Quote. At this time, a mentor from Wuhan University jumped out with a wry smile. Mr. Liu, your Heavenly Tao Academy's attack is too fast. That's right, that's a heavenly grade. Our academy has never seen a lowly grade. So are we. The rest of the instructors also spoke out. Lu Yan brushed her hair and smiled. Who told me to be the martial arts instructor in this student's class? I can only blame the superiors for assigning it so well. Lu Yan spread her hands and said helplessly. Versailles, she's Versailles, brothers. A tutor yelled. Quiet, continue testing. After a few minutes of shock, the examiner has come to his senses. The next one, number 00041, Zhang San. A young man who looked very energetic stepped out of the crowd. He walked up to the stone pillar and put his hand on the attribute induction stone. A few seconds later, the induction stone emitted a soft blue light. Water attribute talent, Xuanpin. The examiner announced loudly. The student named Zhang San trembled uncontrollably when he heard the examiner's announcement. I actually have the talent of Xuanpin. Parents, your son has not let you down. I saw that Zhang Sanyi couldn't control his emotions for a while, and burst into tears. This classmate, this is a good thing, you should be happy, don't cry. I saw a mentor comforting me. Zhang San wiped his tears with his hands. Teacher Wang, I'm fine, I'm so happy. I really can't imagine how much pressure the current parents put on their children, even forcing a good child to be like this. Teacher Wang thought to himself and sighed secretly. Son, would you like to come to our Southeast Wuhan University? I will try my best to get you the best treatment I can. Mr. Wang, I am willing to join Southeast Wuhan University. The student named Zhang San choked up and said. Good boy. The instructor surnamed Wang said excitedly. Old Wang, you are too unkind. Before we even spoke, you recruited a genius with a mysterious talent into the academy. A mature and charming female mentor with long pale yellow curly hair said half-jokingly. Ha, I won't fight with you from now on. The tutor surnamed Wang is a loyal person, scratching his head and saying. The next one, number 00045. The examiner shouted without looking at the situation here. I saw the student no 00045 put his hand on it, but the induction stone did not emit light. No 00045, no talent. The examiner announced. The classmate walked out of the crowd dejectedly. Number 00049, no talent. Quote. From the student named Zhongsan to the number 00087 in front of Lu Qingchen. None of the students present could make the attribute sensor stone shine. Next, number 00088, Lu Qingchen. Put your hand on the attribute induction stone and stay for 3 seconds. Because the machine for the strength test was broken by this student, and the strength of 5000 kg can be said to be the highest in the previous assessments. So the examiner was very impressed with this student. Lu Qingchen stepped forward and put his hand on the attribute induction stone, but he didn't feel anything. A few seconds later, the attribute sensor stone emitted a dim red light. Look, it's bright. Some students exclaimed. As soon as the words fell, the attribute sensor stone shone brightly, shining extremely brightly. A crimson light shone on everyone's face. It slowly turned into golden yellow, and then turned into white light like jade. After a few seconds, the attribute induction stone freezes in the crimson light. It was the first time for the examiner to experience this situation, and his mind went blank for a while. The test result is tentatively determined to be fire attribute talent, Tianpin. After a long while, the examiner groaned and said this sentence. This sentence is like a stone hitting the calm water, instantly stirring up thousands of waves. Tianpin, it's Tianpin again. Why, I remember that Lu Qingchen's strength test was 5000 kg. Is this a monster? What's the matter with the golden and jade-colored light? Yes, does anyone know? Why are there so many monsters? I don't even have talent. Wu, don't come to comfort me. The students all got excited and talked loudly. Some students without attribute talent couldn't accept such a result for a while. Originally, it was difficult to accept that I had no talent, but suddenly a talent of Tianpin came. Completely defeated the psychological defense of these unawakened talented students. Lu Yan was already smiling when she saw the dazzling red light, but she didn't expect it to turn into golden and jade-colored light. Even if she was the well-informed teacher of the Heavenly Tao Holy Academy, she couldn't see anything for a while. Many instructors present were so excited when they saw the dazzling crimson light, but they didn't expect it to turn into golden and jade-colored light. This change made many mentors of Wuhan University dumbfounded. For a while, you look at me, I look at you, and look at each other. This classmate, no, this little brother, would you like to come to my East China Wuhan University, and I promise to get you the greatest resources I can get. After a few seconds of silence, a middle-aged tutor who was relatively thin but with shining eyes said excitedly to Lu Qingchen. At this time, many other mentors also reacted, and hurried forward. This little brother, don't listen to him, come to our North China Wuhan University, the conditions are up to you. Don't listen to them, just come to our university, the girlfriend bag is assigned. Choose us, you will be the vice president directly. Lu Qingchen's head was blown by the noise. Is the enrollment so introverted now? Lu Qingchen scratched his hair vigorously with both hands, and sighed. But still politely waved to the many instructors. Thank you very much for the attention of all the tutors, but I have already been recruited by a school, I am really sorry. Which school is so shameless, it actually strikes so fast? Many teachers said loudly. I'm sorry everyone, Lu Qingchen is already a student of my Heavenly Tao Holy Academy. Everyone present turned their heads slowly and looked behind them. I saw Lu Yan standing at the back, arms crossed. Then, facing the many instructors, he showed a triumphant smile. Lu Yan smiled triumphantly at the many instructors. I saw the teachers of these Wuhan University stunned for a moment, and then went crazy. How can you do this? Why are all the geniuses recruited into the academy in advance by you? Yes, that is, have you tested their talents in advance? Quote. Facing these mentors who were going crazy, Lu Yan shook her head helplessly. Hey, there's no way, I only recruited 2 students in advance. Who would have thought that these 2 students would be so upbeat? Quote. I saw her smiling brightly. Besides, there are regulations above that cannot monitor students' talent in advance. Is there any Wuhan university that dares to violate the rules that everyone made together? Am I right? Quote, I saw that the faces of these mentors were as livid as if they had just eaten a dead spider. Tianpin geniuses, too. Just like that, he was recruited by Tiandao Holy Academy. The students in Kyoto have also awakened their Tianpin talent. Just as many mentors from Wuhan University were filled with anger, they only heard voices from outside. Everyone rushed outside, only Lu Yan stayed where she was, showing a charming smile to Lu Qingqian. Little guy, it's really good. I gave my sister a big surprise. Lu Qingqian scratched his head, with a sunny face. I will give my sister more surprises in the future. Don't be scared, sister. Really, if you can still surprise me, I will. Lu Qingqian smiled and said. Just what, Miss Lu Yan? I saw Lu Yan looking at him with a smile. If you can give me a bigger surprise than awakening Tianpin talent, I will promise you one condition. A strange brilliance flashed across Lu Qingqian's eyes, and he couldn't help but look where he shouldn't look, and asked weakly. Is it all right, sister? At this time, many people's eyes were looking this way, and Yushan was no exception. Brother Chen is still amazing. All the flirting with girls went to the mentor. I have to ask Brother Chen to teach me more in the future, Yushan secretly said in his heart. Lu Yan naturally also noticed Lu Qingqian's eyes, but she didn't expect Lu Qingqian to be so courageous. A pair of beautiful big eyes stared fiercely at Lu Qingqian, gnashed his teeth and said. As long as you can give me a bigger surprise, any conditions will do. Lu Yan's beautiful eyes stared fiercely at Lu Qingqian. Seeing the smile on Lu Qingqian's face, she couldn't help but think of that night on the rooftop of the hotel. This student who was only a third year in high school, with fluttering hair and twitching holy fists, asked the world, who is the hero? I just remember how clear Lu Qingqian's eyes were that night, they were full of dedication to martial arts. Looking at Lu Qingqian's handsome face and charming smile now, his face turned red. Me, what am I thinking about? Lu Yan touched her pretty face subconsciously. Mr. Lu Yan, why are you blushing? At this time, Yushan was making up for the sword. Who is blushing? I am delighted that I am about to be promoted to a senior tutor. Lu Yan reacted quickly, and immediately quibbled. Then he said with a smile. After all, I have accepted you and your brother Chen as two heavenly geniuses for the academy. The academy will definitely reward me. Seeing that the knife was not successful, Yushan scratched his head with a silly smile. You idiot, let's study for a few more years. Lu Qingqian muttered in his heart. The instructors of Wuhan University who had just hurried out had come back slowly, but Lu Qingqian didn't seem to be very happy when he saw them. It's really strange, the two students who tested the Tianpin talent here were accepted by the tutors of Tiandao Holy Academy in advance. A talented student from Kyoto over there was also accepted by the Monster Academy in advance. Quote. A mentor said to himself. How can we go back to work? I haven't even recruited a student with yellow grade talent. Has the famous schools started to introvert now? Lu Qingqian couldn't help grinning when he heard the complaints from the instructors of Wuhan University. I really want to know if Teacher Lu will do the same if he fails to recruit students. Thinking of Lu Yan's complaining face, Lu Qingqian wanted to laugh. The test is still going on, the examiner only said that those who are not talented can leave. Lu Qingqian sat with Yushan and Lu Yan, and the three stared at each other. Let me take advantage of this time to tell you about the Martial Soul Awakening ceremony and some things that will happen in the Martial Soul Awakening. The three of them stared for a while, then Lu Yan said suddenly. As soon as he heard that Lu Yan wanted to say something about Wuhan, Lu Qingqian immediately became interested. The two quickly moved their heads together. Lu Yan patted the heads of the two of them. It goes without saying that you must know what the Martial Soul Awakening ceremony means. It is to help you awaken your martial soul. As for the things that will happen when the martial soul is awakened, that is what I want to focus on telling you now. Quote. Speaking of this, Lu Yan looked serious. After the martial soul awakening ceremony starts, it will stimulate the awakening of the martial soul hidden in your body. The martial soul is full of strange things, such as flowers, trees, birds and beasts. When awakening martial souls, some powerful martial souls will have companion creatures. For example, some martial souls will be accompanied by divine weapons when awakened, and some martial souls will be accompanied by exercises when awakened. although the martial soul is your own, but the accompanying magic weapon also has skills or some natural treasures, which can be used by others after death. Although he was mentally prepared, Yushan couldn't help but sigh. So no matter whether you have awakened a powerful martial soul or the accompanying magic weapon skills, you must not bring it out, just know it yourself. Unless your own strength is strong or you have powerful warriors or strength asylum. Quote. Lu Yan took a deep look at the two of them. Although you are students of Tiandao Holy Academy, there are still risks outside. Killing and stealing treasures is very common in the world of martial arts. You can't trust others easily, otherwise you will only be eaten to the bone. The attribute talent test is over. Those who have awakened attribute talent will come directly with me to prepare for the Wuhan awakening ceremony, and invite many instructors from the Wuhan University to prepare. Just when Lu Qingchen and the two listened very seriously, the examiner's voice came. I'm going to prepare for the ceremony to help the students awaken their martial spirits. You can just follow the examiner later. Lu Yan's face suddenly became serious. Remember what I said, no matter what happens during the martial soul awakening ceremony, it will be buried in the bottom of my heart. If you have any questions, just go back to the hotel and ask me after the awakening ceremony. After finishing speaking, he left in a hurry. Lu Qingchen and Yushan looked at each other, and they nodded to each other. Students who awaken attribute talents now, come with me. The two got up, followed the examiner and walked outside together with a few students who had awakened their talent attributes. I don't know if I will awaken a powerful martial soul. One is a fire-type martial soul, it's acceptable, but what about the other one, flowers, grass, trees, wood? Or insects, fish, birds and beasts? Don't awaken dog martial souls, and pigs, I don't want to become such cute animals. I'm really looking forward to it. The examiner led the students to a very spacious room, which seemed to have 1,000 square meters. There are 18 futons in the room, and the distance between each futon is about 10 meters. Lu Qingchen and Yushan looked around and saw that people from the other 3 districts had also come. When people from Area D came in, they found that everyone was there except Shuzan and Zhang Wei. Seeing Hong Bing shaking his head at him, Lu Qingchen immediately understood the meaning. Hey, teacher Lu Yan is right, luck is so important. Lu Qingchen couldn't help shaking his head. The martial spirit is about to be awakened, do you know how to awaken it? A student asked. I don't know, it's about to start, the examiner will tell. I don't know what kind of martial spirit I will awaken, the pressure is so great. It would be great if I could awaken a powerful attacking spirit, then I would definitely become a strong one. Because the martial soul awakening ceremony is about to start, the students are unavoidably excited. At this moment, many mentors from Wuhan University walked in, each holding a black but irregularly shaped stone in their hands. Lu Yan was among them. They walked to each futon, took the stones in their hands, and sat cross-legged. Because there are only so many futons, it can only help a dozen students to awaken at one time. Since there are not many students, about 50 or so it was divided into 3 batches. The martial soul awakening ceremony begins now. The first batch of students, please sit on the futons in order. 18 students came out from the crowd, including Hong Bing from class 7, Su Muting, Zhang Ying and Shu Man. Interestingly, the futon Su Muting was sitting on was Lu Yan. Quiet, the examiner said seriously. It's time to start. Lu Yan said to Su Muting. Sit cross-legged, close your eyes later, and feel the hidden power in your body with your heart. No matter what happens, don't make a sound. Su Muting hummed softly. I saw that the mentors of Wuhan University began to emit light of various colors. That should be soul power. Lu Qingchen thought to himself. I saw that all the mentors injected the emitted light into the black and irregular stone in their hands. It lasted for about a minute, and the stone glowed with golden light, rising slowly. Then it floated above the students' heads, and a layer of golden light was released from the stone. A light golden light shield was formed, enveloping the students sitting cross-legged on the futons. I saw those students who looked a little excited became quiet immediately after being enveloped by the pale golden light. All of them closed their eyes tightly, as if they were feeling something. It lasted for about a quarter of an hour, and the light golden mask covering the 18 students disappeared. The irregular stone turned black again and flew back into the hands of the mentors. I saw a blurred light group appearing above the heads of the students sitting on the futons. As time passed, the light cluster began to shatter. Everyone saw that after the light cluster shattered, there were lights of various colors flashing above everyone's head. The students who hadn't awakened their martial souls looked over curiously, and saw all kinds of creatures in those rays of light. Flowers and trees, birds and animals, and even a ring, and a martial soul like a weapon. Lu Qingchen could only see a khaki yellow light shining on Hong Bing's head. Looking closely, he saw a giant bear roaring in the light. There is also a deep blue light shining on Su Muting's head, and a bird soul beast is singing carefully. The light on the heads of the students gradually dimmed, but the martial spirits on their heads began to emit light, and bright grooves appeared on the bodies of these martial spirits. This is the soul trough that teacher Lu Yan was talking about, Lu Qingchen thought. There are many soul slots on these spirits, the most is 4, and the least is only 1. Lu Qingchen found that there were 4 spirit slots on Su Muting's head, and 3 on Hong Bing's. After about a few minutes, these spirits all turned into a ray of light and entered the bodies of the students. At this time, the students on the futon all opened their eyes. Since they had just awakened their martial souls, everyone's eyes also changed a little. Some students' pupils turned into a dot, and some students' eyes emitted the same light as their own attributes. At this time, everyone stared at the examiner. The examiner said in a deep voice, "After Wuhan awakens, you can clearly feel its existence in your mind. I believe you all know how to use Wuhan. The state after you awaken your martial soul is called the awakening state. This state is mainly to comprehend the martial soul, cultivate the soul power and pour it into the martial soul. When the soul power of the martial soul is full, it can automatically advance to the next level." Quote, "Of course, the higher the strength of the martial soul, the more soul power it needs, and now you can only temporarily use some of the martial soul's abilities. For example, this student who has awakened the husky soil pig, after releasing the martial soul, his skin will become thicker and his ability to resist blows will be greatly enhanced." Quote, "I saw that everyone focused their attention on this student who had awakened the husky soil pig martial soul. The classmate lowered his head in shame. Don't be embarrassed. Awakening the martial soul means that you are already a soul fighter, far surpassing many people. What's more, the martial soul is full of strange things. On the contrary, your beast martial soul is relatively normal," the instructor said to the dark-skinned student. The student raised his head proudly. "Also, after awakening the martial soul, there will be a martial soul mark on one place on the body, called the martial soul mark. Wuhan is usually in the space that comes with the Wuhan imprint." Quote, "The students who have reached the stage of Wuhan awakening are still very smart, and everyone understood the examiner as soon as he finished speaking. Okay, that's all. Now invite the second batch of students to sit on the futons." 18 more students came out, and Lu Qingchen blinked at Yushan when he saw that Yushan was also inside. Then it was discovered that 2 acquaintances were also included. One was Yan Ziyan, the monitor of their class, and the student from Kyoto who had a conflict before, Yao Chengwu. I saw that it was still the same as before. The instructors injected soul power into the dark stone. The stone emits a golden light and rises slowly. Then it floated above the heads of the students, and a layer of golden light was released from the stone. A light golden light shield was formed, enveloping the students sitting cross-legged on the futons. After a quarter of an hour, the light golden mask covering the 18 students disappeared. The light cluster on Yan Ziyan's head was the first to shatter. Lu Qingchen took a closer look and found that the flame seemed to be a lizard. Moo! A heavy voice sounded like a bull's roar. At this time, the light cluster on the top of Yushan also broke, and Lu Qingchen clearly saw a dazzling golden light. When the light dispersed, I suddenly found that the cow's back was golden, and the rest was pitch black. A pair of golden spiral horns on the head seemed to pierce the sky. There are 7 bright soul slots shining on this cow. Top talent. Lu Qingchen's first psychological reaction. Everyone saw the examiner's body shaking, and he murmured in a trembling voice. This is, the top martial spirit of beasts. Gold-backed Mengtian Niu. This is, the top martial spirit of beasts. Gold-backed Mengtian Niu. That's right, this is Yushan's martial spirit. When Yushan's martial soul appeared, everyone seemed to feel the thick aura like a mountain, and after a while, this aura became extremely sharp, as if it wanted to pierce the sky. As soon as the examiner's voice fell, the surrounding crowd instantly became restless. Hey, what kind of martial spirit is this? If I'm not mistaken, it's a beast spirit. Nonsense, of course I know it's a beast spirit, what I'm asking is if this kind of spirit is an attack spirit. The students on the field started discussing one after another, looking at Yushan with envy and longing. The examiner next to him also looked at Yushan with admiration in his eyes. Crazy. A sharp eagle's cry came, causing the eardrums of everyone on the field to sting. Everyone hurriedly looked in the direction of the sound. Lu Qingchen also turned his gaze, and saw that the place where the eagle crowed was the wahan above Yao Chengwu's head. On its head, everyone saw a blue divine bird with a faint halo emitting from its whole body. The blue body was covered with dragon-like scales, shining with an ice blue luster. This martial soul has the body of an eagle, but it has the head of a dragon. An extremely cold breath emanates from this martial soul, which immediately makes the surrounding students feel a little cold. I saw 7 bright soul slots flashing on the body of this eagle body and dragon head martial soul. Another top talent, Lu Qingchen thought to himself. He couldn't help but feel a little pressure from the awakening of 2 top martial spirits in a row. At this time, all the students sitting on the futon had successfully awakened, except for Yushan and Yao Chengwu who had awakened top martial souls. Lu Qingchen also discovered that Yan Xian's martial soul had 5 bright soul grooves. Recalling what Lu Yan said once again, luck is also a part of strength. Lu Qingchen shook his head and gradually calmed down. So what if I haven't awakened the top martial soul? Martial arts cultivation never depends on talent alone. As long as there is a martial soul that can be cultivated, it will be fine, not to mention that I have 2 martial souls. Oh, by the way, I still hang up. Since he hadn't awakened his martial soul broken mirror yet, he almost forgot about the system. With a thought, Lu Qingchen opened the information panel. Host, Lu Qingchen, martial soul, not activated. Realm, body tempering realm 10th level. Mental power, 20. Cultivation method. Burning Heaven Sacred Code, unknown open after awakening martial soul. Items. Dongguang Bell, small good fortune pill 2. Wahan changed. Lu Qingchen frowned slightly. One is fire type, the other is strength type. Okay, just not some cute husky pig. The students who had awakened their martial souls were extremely excited, but when they looked at Yushan and Yao Chengwu's 2 top martial souls, the excited mood seemed to be poured with cold water. Why put us together with this kind of monster to awaken the martial soul? This is the voice of the rest of the students. Yan Xian had just awakened his martial soul, and found that he had 5 soul slots, and couldn't help being ecstatic in his heart. After seeing Yushan and Yao Chengwu's martial souls, then look at his own lizard martial soul. His face couldn't help but become ugly. HMPH, although I can't compare with these 2, Lu Qingchen, hehe. I don't believe that his awakened martial soul talent is as high as mine. Thinking of this, Yan Xian felt much better. At this moment, many instructors have awakened the martial souls for everyone, after seeing the awakened martial souls of these 2 students. His face couldn't help turning black. The 3 famous schools are really not human beings. Many teachers thought to themselves. Of course, except Lu Yan. At this moment, Lu Yan's face is already smiling, the talent of the 7 soul troughs. Even in the 3 famous schools, I have only seen less than 3 soul fighters with 7 soul slots. I don't know how long it has been since Tiandao Holy Academy has recruited a student with 7 spirit slots. It seems that I can be promoted this time when I go back. Lu Yan began to think about it. After a few minutes, everyone has recovered from the state of shock. Now the last batch of students please sit on the futons. As soon as the examiner finished speaking, the rest of the students walked out one after another. Finally it was me. Lu Qingchen took a deep breath and walked to his place. Coincidentally, the mentor who helped him awaken his martial spirit was Lu Yan. Don't be nervous, no matter what happens later, don't make a sound. Sit cross-legged now, and then just use your heart to feel the hidden power in your body. Lu Qingchen nodded and sat cross-legged. I saw red rays of light emanating from Lu Yan's body, and then slowly injected these rays of light into the dark irregular stone. It lasted for about a minute, and the stone glowed with golden light, rising slowly. Then floating above Lu Qingshan's head, a layer of golden light was released from the stone. A light golden mask was formed, covering Lu Qingshan, who was sitting cross-legged on the futon. The light shrouded Lu Qingshan's body. Very warm and soft, this is Lu Qingshan's feeling for a moment. The whole person seems to be wrapped in a very warm and soft world, which is unspeakably comfortable. The warm and soft breath rushed into the body, and Lu Qingshan clearly felt that something in his body broke through the seal. I started to feel hot all over, from top to bottom. At this moment, Lu Qingshan's body was trembling non-stop. If you look carefully, you can find that his face is already covered with beads of sweat. In an instant, strong qi and blood fluctuations emanated. Immediately afterwards, Lu Qingshan seemed to see an extremely dazzling light in his mind. Crazy. The light spread out, and a domineering and low howling sound came, and Lu Qingshan saw that his mind turned into a sea of fire. The golden flame burned for 9 days and 10 places, burning to the extreme, and after a while, all the flames rushed towards that figure. Without the golden flame, Lu Qingshan finally saw what kind of creature the figure in his mind was. A pair of wings that cover the sky are raised up, above which is filled with endless red golden divine fire. The whole body is as if cast of red gold, extremely brilliant. A pair of eyes is like a big sun. This terrifying creature finally revealed its true colors. Compared to Yao Chengwu's awakened dragon-headed eagle body martial soul, this creature is thousands of times nobler. This divine bird looked down at Lu Qingshan, with a crystal black beak, standing proudly in the world like a mountain. The whole body is red gold, extremely sacred, and the feathers on the body are like a peerless sword, exuding endless sharpness. The 3 claws under its body are covered with golden scales, and the curved grabbing hook is like a sharp blade, which is the proof of its identity. 3-legged golden crow. Lu Qingshan was shocked. This creature should have only appeared in mythology. Roar. Just when Lu Qingshan was extremely excited, an indescribably majestic dragon chant suddenly rang through his mind. At the moment when the dragon chant resounded, Lu Qingshan's mind went blank, and his mind roared. What kind of dragon chant is that? A burst of ancient, noble, violent, and wild breath rushed over. Until the next moment, the golden light all over the sky disappeared. Lu Qingshan had the illusion of standing on the clouds, and the world was empty. Only he and the godlike creature were left staring at each other. Lu Qingshan trembled slightly. He couldn't believe that such a godlike creature would become his martial spirit. Even if all the adjectives are used, it is difficult to describe the power and majesty of the creature in front of him. This is a golden dragon with golden scales all over its body. A pair of dragon horns are extremely sharp, like 2 peerless swords, shining with dazzling golden light all the time. The entire dragon body is the most noble golden yellow, and each dragon scale is open, like a sharp blade, shining with a mysterious luster. The dragon head is even more perfect, as if it is a masterpiece of heaven. The golden dragon beard is fluttering, and there is a dragon ball under the jaw. A pair of dragon pupils that are also golden in color shone with golden light, extremely majestic. Exudes an aura of contempt for the past and the present. A pair of huge dragon wings behind it even block out the sky. Lu Qingshan even discovered that there were 9 thick claws under the body of this golden dragon. 9-clawed true dragon. This is the true dragon of the dragon clan. Only a true dragon can give birth to 9 dragon claws. The 9 powerful dragon claws under the body represent the purest blood of the dragon clan, which represents the talent of the dragon emperor. Ding! It is detected that the host has broken through to the awakened state, and the extreme state reward has been issued. Ding! It is detected that the host has awakened to the highest martial soul, and the 3rd martial soul will be rewarded Jade God Lotus. When Lu Qingshan was in a state of confusion, the long-lost system reappeared. Good fortune Jade God Lotus. The 3rd martial soul rewarded by the system. 1 step to the sky, but what is the supreme martial soul? Lu Qingshan thought to himself. Everyone saw 2 light clusters appearing on Lu Qingshan's head. After the light cluster dispersed, an extremely dazzling divine bird spread its wings. The 3-legged golden crow came to the world for the first time. Another beam of light shattered, and many students and teachers present only saw a huge lotus floating above Lu Qingshan's head. The whole body of the lotus is snow white, just like being cast from white jade. 12 green lotus leaves are set off, and the flowers bloom with 24 petals. At the lotus heart, 5 jade-like lotus seeds formed. There are 7 bright soul slots shining on the whole lotus flower. But what is shocking is that there is only one extremely bright soul slot on this extremely dazzling divine bird. What's going on? What happened? 2 martial souls. Who am I and where am I? Everyone was full of doubts. At this time, the spirits of the rest of the students had also successfully awakened, and everyone was staring at one place. Can't help but turn around and look. It doesn't matter if you turn your head, you are as shocked as everyone else. What the hell, this is still human. Why are there 2 spirits? I saw a lotus mark on Lu Qingqian's brow, and the lotus mark flickered and turned into a sun mark. The 2 imprints complement each other. A few seconds later, with a thought in Lu Qingqian's mind, the 2 martial souls turned into a beam of light and entered between his eyebrows. As soon as he opened his eyes, he realized that everyone present was staring at him. Lu Yan in front of her was even more staring, and even wiped the corners of her mouth with her hands. Being stared at by so many people, Lu Qingqian felt his scalp tingle instantly, and said embarrassingly, "Although I'm handsome, it's very stressful for you to stare at me like this. Brother Chen, have you awakened 2 or 2 martial spirits?" Yu Shan leaned over and asked excitedly. Lu Qingqian nodded. Probably. Then he looked at Lu Yan in front of him. Lu Yan was also excited, and said with a smile, "It's indeed twin spirits, little brother, you really gave my sister a surprise." Lu Qingqian scratched his head and showed a pure smile to Lu Yan. "The martial soul awakening ceremony is over, everyone can leave. Also, this test and the awakening of the martial soul will become the scores of everyone's college entrance examination." Quote. The examiner left in a hurry after saying this, probably to report to the higher authorities. The classmates and tutors in the room also left one after another. Yan Ziyan did not stay with the students of Class 7, but followed behind Yao Chengwu in Kyoto. The faces of the 2 were gloomy, and Yan Ziyan's eyes were full of jealousy. After everyone left, only Class 7 and Lu Yan were still in this classroom. Hong Bing said excitedly, "Great, everyone has awakened their martial souls, I have to go back and tell my family the good news. Then you'll have us have a school entrance feast." Yu Shan smiled. "No problem, when the time comes, you can eat whatever you want. My family will be very happy if they know that I have been admitted to Wuhan University." Hong Bing said excitedly, "It's a pity that Shuzan and Zhongwei haven't awakened their martial souls." Shu Man said softly. Everyone was silent. Actually, it's not entirely a bad thing that the 2 of them haven't awakened their martial souls. It's also good to be admitted to a prestigious liberal arts school. Lu Yan comforted everyone, and continued. Besides, awakening the martial soul means stepping on the martial arts path, which is full of dangers. It's not a bad thing to get admitted to a prestigious liberal arts school without awakening your martial soul. Quote. Hearing what teacher Lu Yan said, the rest of the students also thought it made sense. So they all nodded. "Then let's go back to the hotel first, I'm still in a hurry to announce the good news to my family." Hong Bing grinned. "Okay, you guys go back to the hotel first, we'll go back to school together tomorrow, Lu Qingqian and Yu Shan stay here." After Hong Bing, Su Muting, Zhang Ying and Shu Man left, Lu Yan smiled at Lu Qingqian and said, "Twin martial souls, not bad, it really gave me a big surprise. But why do you only have 1 soul slot for another martial soul?" Quote. I saw Lu Qingqian scratching his head, "I don't know either." In fact, Lu Qingqian really didn't know that apart from the Good Fortune Jade God Lotus having 7 soul slots, the Sun Golden Crow Martial Soul and the Golden Emperor Dragon Martial Soul both had only 1 soul slot. It's just that this soul trough is twice as large as the soul trough of the Good Fortune Jade God Lotus. As for why everyone thinks he only has 2 spirits. Nonsense, hide one chant. These days, who wouldn't pretend to be a pig and eat a tiger? What's more, there are already 7 Jade God Lotuses with soul troughs. Lu Qingqian knows that he and Yu Shan will definitely enjoy the best resources of Tiandao Holy Academy. Seeing that what Lu Qingqian said didn't sound like a lie, Lu Yan didn't ask any more questions. "Then you go back to the hotel first. I have already told the above to recruit early, and now I want to report the situation of you 2. Lu Yan paused, and continued. "As for you, Go back and get a good understanding of the martial arts, the academy will definitely give you very generous treatment. Only then did Lu Qingchen and Yu Shan smile with satisfaction. On the way back to the hotel, the two were very excited because they had awakened their martial souls. Soon, they were about to reach the hotel entrance. Warn, warn, there is danger ahead. The system suddenly made a sound. Lu Qingchen was taken aback and slowed down a little. He patted Yu Shan and said in a low voice, "There is danger ahead. Someone should be ambushing. After I count 1, 2, 3, we will run to the place where teacher Lu Yan is. We must run as hard as we can, understand?" Yu Shan nodded without a trace. Just 100 meters away from the entrance of the hotel, Lu Qingchen said softly. 1. The footsteps of the two did not slow down, so that the enemy would not be easy to detect. 2, 3, run. Lu Qingchen let out a low growl, and Yu Shan immediately turned around when he heard it. The two frantically ran towards where Lu Yan was before. The 4 soul fighters who had ambushed at the gate of the hotel obviously did not expect that Lu Qingchen and Yu Shan would suddenly run back after walking well. All 4 of them were slightly stunned for a moment. Lu Qingchen and Yu Shan had rushed far with all their strength. At this moment, both Yu Shan and Lu Qingchen were emitting light, and their speed was unknowingly faster than usual. As the two people who awakened the top martial souls, they possessed part of the martial soul's power from the very beginning of awakening the martial souls. At this moment, the 4 soul fighters who were ambushing at the gate of the hotel also reacted, and quickly got out from various hidden places. Intense light lit up on the 4 of them, and 2 of them actually rose into the air, with a pair of spiritual wings growing from their backs, chasing in the direction where Lu Qingchen and Yu Shan were running. It's just that the strength gap between the two parties is too great, and it's also the first time that Lu Qingchen has seen people who can actually fly, even though Lu Qingchen and the 2 of them ran a long distance when the 4 people in ambush were not paying attention. But after the other party reacted, the distance narrowed in an instant. "Help, teacher Lu Yan!" Lu Qingchen suddenly roared, almost startling the 4 of them. The 2 flying up in the air rushed towards Lu Qingchen and Yu Shan, and swooped down when they were less than 100 meters away. I saw that the 2 people in ambush had just landed, and they could catch up in a second or 2 at most. Lu Qingchen let out a low growl when he saw that the 2 who were chasing him had landed less than 20 meters away from him. In an instant, 2 crimson wings spread behind Lu Qingchen, and Lu Qingchen released his martial soul. I saw him yelling at Yu Shan, "Hold on to me, don't let go." Yu Shan immediately grabbed Lu Qingchen's hand when he heard the sound, and Lu Qingchen took Yu Shan into the air. Since the 2 soul warriors who had been ambushing just now swooped down, when they danced their spiritual wings again, Lu Qingchen and Yu Shan had already ascended 20 meters into the air. I saw the wings of the 2 powerful soul warriors glowing, and then released a powerful beam of light to hit Lu Qingchen in the sky. Lu Qingchen was shocked. Seeing that he quickly swayed his body to the side, he narrowly escaped the deadly beam of light. Lu Qingchen continued to flap his wings and flew into the air, less than a kilometer away from the test site where Lu Yan was. The 2 soul fighters waved their wings again and started to lift off, and caught up with Lu Qingchen in just a second or 2. I saw that Lu Qingchen was 100 meters high, but the 2 soul fighters flew up in an instant, and they were about to approach Lu Qingchen. Lu Qingchen saw one of the soul fighters speed up instantly, and took out a big knife with blue flames in his hand. The blade was gathering strength. Lu Qingchen clenched his teeth, and could no longer escape. Lu Qingchen tried his best to gather the little soul power he had left on the 2 crimson wings, and the next moment, the crimson wings doubled in size, and a huge crimson streak shot at the soul warrior. In an instant, a huge flame rushed towards the soul fighter who was holding a flickering blue flame giant knife, and the body of the soul fighter was instantly ignited. With a scream, he fell from a height. After Lu Qingchen sent out this attack, the last trace of soul power in the martial soul had been squeezed out. Even the martial soul couldn't maintain it, and without the pair of crimson wings, Lu Qingchen and Yu Shan fell forward together. At this time, Yu Shan clenched his teeth, released his martial soul, his muscles bulged instantly, and his clothes were torn apart by the brutal muscles. At this time, his back had turned into metal, shining with a golden luster. He wanted to land on Lu Qingchen with his hands, let himself land on the ground, and tried to release his martial soul to strengthen himself so that he could land on his back. At this moment, Lu Yan, who heard the cry for help and hurriedly ran out of the test site, saw that Lu Qingchen and Yu Shan were about to fall from the sky. The martial soul was released instantly, and Lu Yan turned into a streak of light and rushed towards the two of them. It's a pity that it was only close, and Lu Yan's eyes were full of despair. The moment Lu Qingchen and Yu Shan were about to hit the ground, an icy blue figure appeared out of thin air and caught them. I see who is so bold as to dare to assassinate the students of my Heavenly Tao Holy Academy. The ice blue beauty shouted coldly. After finishing speaking, he threw Lu Qingchen and Yu Shan back and threw them to Lu Yan, who was a few meters behind him. The ice blue wings on the back spread out in an instant, and the next instant, Han Meng flew into the air. The icy blue wings became 100 times larger, and the next moment, the icy blue cold current turned into a huge beam of light and shot at the few soul fighters. Plop, plop. I saw two voices, and the two soul warriors had been frozen into human-shaped ice cubes and fell from the sky. Ever since, there were 4 more humanoid ice cubes on the ground. You take these 2 students back to rest first, and I'll come over after I deal with them. Lu Yan hummed, hugged Lu Qingchen in her arms and flew towards the hotel with Yu Shan in her hands. Smell good. This was Lu Qingchen's first reaction. The next moment, Lu Yan threw Lu Qingchen onto the bed. Lu Qingchen was in pain, rubbed his shoulders, and looked resentful. Can't you be gentler, Teacher Lu? Lu Yan rolled her eyes, then patted her chest, as if she was alive after a catastrophe. Fortunately, I reported your grades to the academy before. If there is no one from the academy, you might. Lu Qingchen was also a little scared at the moment. If the system hadn't reminded him, he and Yu Shan would probably be dead now. In the future, I have to be nicer to the father of the system. Thank you for saving my life. Lu Qingchen thought to himself. Lu Yan frowned slightly, looked at the two and said, have you offended anyone recently? How could someone assassinate you all of a sudden? No, Yu Shan and Lu Qingchen replied subconsciously. Just after saying this, Lu Qingchen seemed to realize something, and looked at Yu Shan, who was also looking at him. A burst of anger burst out of Lu Qingchen's heart. Lu Qingchen and Yu Shan were not the kind of people who caused troubles, and they always said that no one would offend me, and I would not offend others. To say who offended, there are only 2 people. Yan Ziyan and Yao Chengwu from Kyoto. The former's family background is very ordinary. It is impossible to invite so many soul fighters to assassinate him. It is undoubtedly the latter. Yao Chengwu was wounded and slapped in the face by Lu Qingchen before, and then he was taken away by the people of Tianxing Temple after the mentor of the Monster Academy took action for him, and he was from the capital. Being recruited by the Monster Academy ahead of time is definitely from a good family background, and inviting 4 soul warriors is not something ordinary families can do. Lu Yan also reflected at this moment, her eyes were shocked. Boom boom boom. Just as Lu Yan was about to speak, the door was suddenly pushed open. Lu Yan hurriedly stepped forward and opened the door. I saw an icy blue figure walking in. She was wearing an ice blue long dress, and her big dark blue eyes were clear and deep, as if they could reflect the scenery between heaven and earth. A head of ice blue long hair hangs loose behind her. Even though she was wearing a veil, she still couldn't conceal her cold and arrogant temperament like ice and snow. It's so beautiful. Lu Qingchen couldn't help but say it. I saw Lu Yan hurriedly said to Lu Qingchen. This is my teacher and the vice president of Tiandao Holy Academy. I've met the vice president. When the two heard that it was the vice president, they quickly stood up and saluted. Seeing the seriousness of the two, Han Meng couldn't help but smile. It seems that the 2 geniuses Lu Yan told me about are you 2 little fellows. No way, ha ha ha. The 2 were a little humble and grinned. Lu Yan looked at the 2 of them speechlessly, and curled her lips. Install, continue to install. The ring on Han Meng's hand flashed, and a small porcelain bottle appeared in her hand. Pour out 2 pills and pass them to Lu Qingchen and Yu Shan. You 2 should recover your soul power after taking these 2 pills. Xiaoyan and I will talk about something first. After speaking, the 2 left the room. Lu Yan glanced at her teacher in surprise. Han Meng smiled and said, the top martial souls are all like this. When they first awaken, they have a part of their soul power. Only then did Lu Yan suddenly realize and nodded. Teacher, there is one more thing I forgot to tell you. Lu Qingchen has 2 martial spirits. What did you say? Han Meng suddenly became excited. Lu Qingchen has 2 martial souls, I forgot to mention. Lu Yan stuck out her tongue. Is what you said true? Han Meng couldn't believe it. Lu Yan nodded seriously. It's just a little strange. Lu Yan said while resting her chin in her hand while thinking. It's a little strange. Are you talking about Wuhan a little strange? Han Meng suddenly became interested. Teacher, do you think top-level spirits with 7 soul slots are common? Of course top-level martial spirits are rare, and there are even fewer top-level martial spirits with 7 soul slots. A few years ago, the Academy also recruited students with top martial spirits with 7 soul slots, and the Tiandao Holy Academy was ranked first in the country at that time. It's just that in recent years, Monster Academy has frequently recruited talented students in advance and offered generous conditions. Although they can't recruit talented students accurately every time, they would rather charge more than let them go. So this also led to a great increase in the chances of them recruiting talents. Tiandao Holy Academy has dropped to 3rd place in Waguo, and was overtaken by God of War Academy just last year. After this incident happened, the seniors in Tiansheng Pavilion were furious, and clearly stated that they must return to the 1st place in the next session. This has also led to many instructors and directors of the Wuhan University Examination College going to various examination rooms to recruit candidates in advance this year. Han Meng felt helpless. It's just that it's not easy to return to the 1st place. It is said that there will be at least 5 top-level martial arts students in the Monster Academy's next competition. And our students are only 3, and this is because we were lucky to recruit 2 from outside in the past 2 years. Han Meng sighed for a while, then asked. By the way, just now you said that someone's martial spirit is a bit strange. What's so strange? Oh, it's nothing. That is, Lu Qingchen has 7 soul slots for 1 martial soul, and only 1 soul slot for the other martial soul. How is it possible? Did you read it wrong? Han Meng doubted himself, an unreliable student. Lu Yan rolled her eyes and continued. I can see it clearly, a pure white lotus flower, and a big golden bird that is surrounded by flames. I don't know that lotus flower, and I don't know what kind of martial spirit that big bird is. Lu Yan's voice suddenly dropped. I tell you to read more books at ordinary times. It's fine if your cultivation speed is slow, but now you don't even know a martial spirit. Don't say that I'm your teacher outside, it's embarrassing. Han Meng was a little speechless to her students, paused, and continued to ask. Is there anything else strange? Yes, that lotus flower has a breath of life. It's not surprising that it has 7 soul slots after all. But what surprised me was the big golden bird Wuhan, whose aura was stronger than that white lotus flower. Quote, Han Meng is also a little strange at the moment, and she has never encountered such a situation before. What's more, it's hard to confirm if you only listen to Lu Yan's description without seeing it with your own eyes. I'll take a look at their martial arts in person after they recover. It's hard to judge right now. Han Meng shook her head. By the way, what about the other student? You said that both of them have awakened top martial souls. That's right, that stronger student is called Yushan, and his martial soul also has 7 soul slots. Lu Yan nodded. What did you say? Another 7 soul troughs. Han Meng was shocked, she hadn't fluctuated so much in a long time. Unexpectedly, after only 1 day in Jinling City, I was already excited twice. I saw Lu Yan beaming brightly and said, I know Yushan's martial spirit, it's a golden-backed Meng beetle, teacher, you must know. Of course, Han Meng knew that the golden-backed Meng beetle, as a kind of spirit beast, could be regarded as the king of cattle spirit beasts. The golden-backed Meng beetle is extremely powerful, and many ligers and tigers are no match for it. Its whole body is pitch black, only its back is golden, and its whole body looks like it is wearing armor. It is said that ordinary attacks have no effect on it at all, and the most powerful thing is the pair of golden spiral horns on the top of the head. It is said that the strongest of the golden-backed Meng beetle family can pierce the sky. I didn't expect to meet the student who awakened the golden-backed Mengtianyu martial soul, and also has 7 soul slots. Whether it is attack or defense, they are extremely powerful. After the cultivation level comes up, who else is his opponent in the same realm? Xiaoyan, you did a good job this time, and you finally have a face for master. Han Meng nodded in satisfaction, and suddenly felt that this student was not useless. Of course, teacher, you don't know. When the mentors of Wuhan University knew that they were the students I recruited in advance, their faces turned green. Lu Yan said with a smile. By the way, a student from Kyoto has also awakened a top-level martial soul. It should be the Frost Sky Dragon Eagle, which also has 7 soul slots. Besides, he had conflicts with Lu Qingchen and Yu Shan before. I suspect that he arranged for the 4 soul warriors who assassinated Lu Qingchen this time. Lu Yan looked aggrieved. The academy will find out about this matter. Please don't say anything until you find the evidence. Frost Sky Dragon Eagle Martial Soul, that student from Kyoto should be a descendant of a certain vice president of the Monster Academy. Lu Yan nodded, thinking that as expected of a teacher, she knows a lot. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.